Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Co-optional Podcast here on the 18th of July 2017.
What? It's
Yeah.
the future.
It is not by definition that.
Literally not.
Literally and figuratively in all
Now it is.
possible definitions.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Now it is.
No.
No.
Nope.
No.
Mm-mm.
Still doesn't work that way. Nope.
Now it's future.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No. Causality, space-time continuum, all saying no.
Are you saying it's also the past?
No, actually, that's no.
The doctor's a woman?
Now
What?
it is.
It's happening.
And now it is.
What?
And now it is.
What?
No. No, it isn't.
But at the point that I said the word now, when I finished the sentence, the word now is in the past.
Yes, but when you said it, it wasn't.
This is why time travel don't work in movies.
Because nobody understands it.
What's going on?
Not much by the looks of it. Not much.
You know what? I'm so hungry. I feel like I could go for some kind of a sandwich.
Okay.
I just had ramen. I just had nice
Is this
homemade
a setup
ramen.
to an elaborate burn?
It was gonna be a setup to maybe a peanut butter sandwich.
Ah!
But
Hey!
I did say elaborate burn. It's
What?
been a
His name
couple of
isn't
years since we have seen our wonderful friend PeanutButterGamer on the show. He's finally found time in his busy schedule to come on back. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thanks for flattering me as well. With the
Of
busy.
course, yeah. We know you
Thanks
get
for covering
views,
for me.
and let's be honest, we struggle for relevancy in every
Don't we?
way on our
Also, his
dying,
fan base.
dying
Cute
channels.
ladies.
So.
What up?
Yeah.
Hi, ladies.
That
Thanks
is
for
true.
watching.
He does have
Thanks for watching, ladies.
like
Mwah.
insultingly good hair, which he chooses
That's also
chooses
true.
to hide under a tea cozy, and I'm not really sure why. Is that kind of a preservation technique? Like,
No, that's actually because I didn't shower today. So
Mm.
I was
Ah.
going
I
to
think-
everybody.
I mean, I don't know
I
if there's
have-
anyone here that has, but
I didn't tell you that right now.
nope,
Wait a
haven't
minute.
done that. Didn't have time. Oh, you did.
All right.
Jesse is the only one who did. Okay.
I was ashamed of my hair because I didn't shower, but if no one else did, I'll go ahead.
Oh, screw that.
Look, that's not bad.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
we go.
Oh, that's not bad. There's like luscious locks flowing everywhere. It's like women faint, men faint, cats faint. Oh, it's not bad. It's not
People went out.
bad.
Where are all these fainting women when I was in high school? I didn't know. I didn't meet any of them.
You're a bit of a late bloomer in that regard.
I actually was, I think. Yeah.
Like a lot of got famous on the internet people were, let's be honest.
What are we going to talk about today?
I
What
mean-
are we going to do?
There'll be video games, I would imagine. We usually, sometimes, occasionally talk about video games. We'll be shilling the out of Coxcon, that I can tell you for a fact.
Yo.
Yeah.
Because for those of you who missed it, I'm going at the last minute.
Ooh.
CoxCon, what is
Crazy.
that?
Crazy town.
Yes, I did not intend to go this year due to a few other things, health concerns. Frankly, you didn't fucking need me anyway. You had a great lineup already. But somebody wasn't able to come at the last minute, so I decided, because I am a good friend, to just get on a plane and come and do
That's
it.
true.
Yeah.
And you
'Cause
are
that's what I
always
do.
welcome to come. So
Indeed.
exciting.
Yep, sure. I'll be sitting on in a couple of already existing panels, no doubt, and making a mess of them.
It's
Perfect.
gonna be fun. Yo, I just want to point this out for the record. I've already been thinking about this. Is for those of you who couldn't make it this year.
Uh-huh.
Next year, I know a guy. I've been hanging out with some of these guys from, I think, called Normal Boots. I want to see if I can get all them guys out there too.
Oh,
That would be
who's in Normal Boots? Can I get a couple names?
I don't know. Maybe.
Those are the X-Game Trailers guys, right? That do reviews on YouTube?
I used
Ah,
to post
yes.
videos on game trailers, so that's
Huh.
not like too off base.
I'll say they are, yeah.
God would.
XIGN.
Mm.
There's like... There's a lot of people we could get at a show that you then only sell 1,000 tickets for that I have a feeling would probably require the sale of more than 1,000 tickets at that point.
Yeah, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a cool, chill environment, so it's not meant to be like too crazy.
Well, yeah.
Although one
You
day,
happy
look, if
for
I sell
what?
out more, if I fully sell out, then we'll just make it like PAX, and I'll be like, I won't even show up. I'll just some
Hey, to be fair, like they
You'll be
pretty much always
Tycho.
show up, right?
yeah.
I was gonna say like Gabe and Tycho show up to every at least PAX
Oh yeah,
West.
they're amazing. Those guys
Yeah.
bust their ass there. So
They do.
That's
They
me
do.
joshing. Yeah.
I like that idea. Like, just have your fun for like 5 years or however long you want to go, and then just totally sell out. Like, sorry, I did it, guys. I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
I'm out. Y'all got this, right? See ya.
Yeah, you'll know I've sold out when I officially changed the name just to Cox, like the Cox Omnimedia Expo or something like that, and just be like, yeah.
Transmedia. Was it a transmedia adjacent gaming
Yes.
adjacency? Get some more buzzwords in there if we can.
Speaking of conventions, Evo, I guess it's not a convention. Speaking of things that took place.
Speaking of events that have to do with video games that people go to.
God, you're so
Jesse,
better
you're not
at this
even
than
good
me.
at promoting your own convention. At least let me tell people there are still a few tickets available at coxcon.co.uk.
Oh, yes.
It's cheap as hell. We'll be there. Signings, photos. We're doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
There's
all gonna
plenty
be
of
good.
tournaments this year. Every year we've done this. We've at the end been like, hey, what can we do to improve and make it better? And last year, one of the funniest comments we got was, what if we're here, but we don't want to wait in line to see you guys or go to any panels or hang out or do anything? What can we do? And I was like, crap, I don't know what you can do. So this year,
What if I don't give a
not
fuck about
come?
any of you, but I happen to be in the area and I just
Right.
It happens to be one of the
And so-
7 people that are actually local to Telford,
and
which
so
is a
this
remote
year,
location. Oh,
This
dear.
year we have an arcade with like arcade machines. We have a retro console room.
I'm probably
We
going to mostly
have-
be in there, honestly, because I
Yeah.
heard that you've got at least one Saturn in there. And if you don't,
Yo.
I could bring my Saturn collection. We can go full Guardian. Hey, I've got Saturn Bomberman that supports 10 fucking players. We can get 2 multi-taps.
I don't know
10
if we have-
controllers. Let's
I don't know if
fucking
we have
do it.
controllers.
I
That
have
might
8.
happen.
I have 8 Saturn controllers.
what the fuck?
Bring those
I love
things.
I
Let
don't
that
think I
happen.
could bring them on the plane. Like, that's just too much shit. But
There is a tournament for Overwatch in which you can win a laptop for having the high score against PCs. You can my god, there's a Gwent tournament. There is a Wanderlust tournament. There's all sorts of things that can happen. There's an area for Jackbox party games if you
Is there
want
a
to just
ball
chill
pit?
and like you know what?
Disease.
There will
pit.
never be a ball pit. If you want to play with balls,
Yep.
it won't be at CoxCon. So,
Hey,
uh,
I was waiting for the delivery. You nailed it. There you go.
Yeah.
but yeah, there's a ton of extra stuff to do this year, and then we just every year we're gonna listen. So this year, when people are like, "Here's what I hated," I'll be like, "All right, how do we
well,
fix
you
it for
did
next
eliminate
year?"
the wait 6 hours in line to get a signing from myself and Jen, which is
Yes.
good for everybody concerned, by the way.
We,
Those who have to
yeah,
wait
this
and
year-
us.
We learned a lot from. I've done so many conventions now. I figured the prime thing of like one day is just photos and one day is just signing. So like
It's optimal.
everyone has time, so you're not stuck there forever.
Yeah.
Uh,
It always sucks to feel like you're moving people through sort of almost like a production line and stuff, but simultaneously, 6 hours.
Mm.
6,
Yeah.
as in people passing out, falling asleep, watching entire trilogies of movies and missing all the other content just for that is unreal. That's not okay. Like,
Yeah.
and we're never gonna charge for signing a fucking autograph. That's never gonna happen. At least I could say that for myself. I don't want to lock any of the rest of you out of it. It'd be a dick.
I will say.
I'm
I will
never
say.
gonna do it.
I will say I learned when we were at Indie PopCon the prices of people who do charge for autographs, and I was like, awesome. I was like, get out!
Blown away.
Are you kidding me? I can just sign a thing and make money. Shut up.
You can do
$15?
that.
A 15.
I
guessing?
know. Yeah, it was around that. My favorite one was one of the. I don't want to put this dude on blast. I'm sure he's a wonderful man, but it cracked me up. One of the people who waited in line to see us when we were together was like, "Yeah, I just paid for one of the voice actors over there $50 to say his line," and I died. I was like,
Wait,
"Shit, I
wait.
could just."
$50 for
be-
just saying it, like not recording, not giving you a custom one.
I think it might have been recorded. I have no confirmation. They
I was
just
gonna
said $50 to say it, and so I don't know what that means. It might have been
Wow.
recorded.
Whoa.
But with that
That's
said,
that's a bit not okay. Like,
with that said, I want to be like, I should just make a game and then it'd be like, boobity bang, $50. Like, just bullshit some like lines. That was crazy.
So I can maybe
there's
understand that
no
if
way
it's
we'd ever
for
do that.
a custom line that can then be used for commercial purposes. Yeah, I could kind of understand that, but it's like, say a thing you've already said that isn't custom to you in any way, shape, or
Yeah.
wow.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like
I mean,
writing
I
a
can
song.
literally get John St. John to say whatever the fuck I want right now for cheaper than that, and he's John St. fucking John.
Yeah. I don't. It's weird to me that, but that's, I think, if that's your job, I don't know. I don't know the justification. I'm not going to claim to ever know. I think we just come from a different background of like, you want my autograph? Sure, okay,
Yeah.
here, enjoy.
Well, I think those of us who were sort of part of the original wave of internet Z-list celebrities probably came up that way and kept that because it made the most sense. Like, okay, a person has actually gone out of their way to show up to an event,
Already paid too.
yeah, waited in a line, sometimes for fucking hours, for the sole purpose of getting either a signature or 30 seconds of my time. To charge them for that would make me a knobsack in so many ways.
It's very common though.
It is.
It's weird.
For the old school celebrities, yeah, it is. I've never heard of anyone doing it on YouTube. I know we probably wouldn't say even if we did, but I haven't heard of it. Anyone
I mean,
doing
I
it.
would definitely call someone out on YouTube if they did that, but
I'll let you do it.
yeah, I have been. Let me just. I am very good at starting beefs, and I have been doing that very well over the last couple of days for very good reasons. So I would happily do something like that. Does it happen at? I mean, I don't know if any of you bother with Vidcon, the temple of
I've been
narcissism,
once.
but
I've been once.
have you
last
seen
year.
anyone at Vidcon who's tried to do that?
I went to VidCon because Hank asked me on Twitter if I would go, and I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. And I went. I stayed in my room the whole time, so I couldn't even answer the question.
I mean, you did the best thing. Like, what you experienced VidCon in
VidCon
the
was
best way
great
you could.
fun. It was a great convention, and they run it really well. But it was
Not anymore, they don't. But they might have back then.
Last year I enjoyed it. I'm
Yeah.
certainly not gonna like. They invited me there. They treated me well, but I didn't know anyone there, so I didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
I didn't even see any signings. I had a panel that went well, but that was pretty
Good.
much it.
Glad to hear that. Yeah, I don't know if anyone on YouTube does. I mean, it's a very sort of old school idea for often, hey, I was famous for this thing, and now I'm doing the convention circuit now that I'm not like acting anymore, either because I'm trying to get more acting gigs, or I'm trying to sort of ride off that. And there's definitely a degree of sympathy that I could offer for that. And also the fact that you've got a culture of, hey, I'm going to get something signed and sell the fucking thing on eBay. It's like,
Right.
right, you've just proven that it has inherent value then. I don't think I've ever seen anyone sort of do that for a YouTuber, like take a thing and sell them. And if I ever saw it for me, what I do is I just duplicate that thing 1,000 times to kill the market. Like, make it have no value, because it doesn't have any value.
To give them a bunch away for free.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I think if you show up and stand in line for fucking hours, at least we can do is sign our fucking name.
Yeah, that's literally the least we can do.
It really is.
Yeah.
Thank you for waiting to walk up to me.
Yes.
Here's the signature.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for thinking that I'm at all worth your time.
Yes. In any way.
Here, enjoy.
Go up
It's like,
anyway in the first place. to
Why
be
are you
there.
not going and doing the other much more entertaining things that are here right now? It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm
But-
rewinding a bit here, but Jesse, real quick, you mentioned an arcade. Do you have pinball?
That is
Yeah,
a-
girl.
Here's the
Is
thing.
there
I fucking
Here's the
love
thing.
pinball.
There's no pinball, but there
God
are.
damn
There
it,
is
Jesse.
time. There is time crisis games.
Okay,
multiple
you
time
got light gun
crises.
shit. Do you have
Okay.
House of the Dead? Any kind of House of the Dead machine?
I cannot confirm or deny any Houses of the Dead.
You better have House
I
of the
would
Dead
have
of some
to.
sort.
I don't have the list in front of me. There's a giant list of all the games.
I love light gun games. I fucking love light gun games.
But yeah, I'm just
When
thrilled
you're-
that I get to play a time crisis game with the actual
Yeah.
foot pedal and stuff. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Time
I
Crisis
might be
is good.
ready.
Type
I like those
Crisis.
Jurassic Park shooters as well. I'm a big NFL Blitz guy too. I like NFL Blitz. Tons of fun.
Yes,
But
but
yeah,
like,
if you have
do you
pinball-
have what is it? Let's Go Jungle, the best light gun shooter from Sega.
I just God damn it. This confirmation just in. Please inform TB I just ordered a ball pit.
Damn it. Diseases.
Also, here's the list of the arcade games. This is not the games that are in the console room. Crazy Taxi, Donkey Kong, 1942, Bubble Bobble, Dig Dug, Final Fight, The Simpsons, Time Crisis 1 and 2, House of the Dead, Gauntlet Legends, Mortal Kombat 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the good one, T2 Judgment Day, Pac-Man, Sega Rally Twin Racer.
Oh, yeah, Sega Rally. Fucking love that game.
And Nintendo Play Choice 10. So there's a ton of things.
That's a good
to choose from there.
lineup. Yeah, there's lots of stuff to
But you
play.
don't have Let's Go Jungle.
I'm so sorry. No, we do not have
It's
Let's
currently
Go
on the screen.
Jungle.
Let's Go Jungle. And if you do not know what Let's Go Jungle is, Let's Go Jungle is a Lycan game shooter about a jungle full of giant insects and love. There is a love mechanic. There are giant paddles.
I do know what you were talking
You do
about.
know what I'm
Dodger,
talking
you and I
about.
played that game.
Yep, you have. I'm almost certain that you have.
Yep. We totally did. It was when we were at Emerald City Comic Con, and we were like stuck. We like went out one day and we were in an arcade, and it's straight up. It's that game where you sit there and remember the piranhas that came out of the water and kept attacking us,
And you
you
have
have
to
to like
beat them off with a paddle.
yes, and you have to hit things at the same time, and at the end it's like your love meter, and that's like
Yeah, if you sync it up,
Yes,
your
we
love
did
meter
that.
goes up. Yep.
I've never been to Emerald City Comic Con.
Dragon Con. I'm sorry.
You have 100% because I know we've talked about this show on the show before. We've talked about
I
Let's Go
don't remember
Jungle,
it.
and I'm almost certain you have played Let's Go Jungle.
I know we have. So, my apologies to Dragon Con. In my mind, dragon equals green equals Emerald City Comic Con.
Sure.
But we played that, and I know that we played that because then when you and I played at MomoCon, when you and I played the scary game, the jump scare game,
Oh, the one
We
that
were
has
like-
your heartbeat monitor on it.
we were
yeah.
like super synced for that. We were we were like because we had played this stuff before.
Right.
Yo, we
because
got it.
We had practice. We laid the groundwork.
Well, I mean, we beat
Fundamentals.
Dead Storm
Teamwork.
Pirates down in Atlanta, if you recall correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That's the game I was thinking of because I was thinking this looks like Dead Storm Pirates. I was watching the footage of this game. Is it? I assume it's made by the same people.
I think it might be, yeah.
It has the same circle shooting mechanic. It looks
Yeah,
like
it's sort of like the whole rapid fire. It's basically like rather than a Lycan game where you're holding the gun and reloading, the gun's sort of a mounted turret basically that you move around like that, and it's rapid fire. Yeah. Let's Go Jungle though is fucking hilarious. Like most Lycan games are in the way that they're almost deliberately written terribly as a really stupid B movie, but Let's Go Jungle goes beyond that.
Yes. It's
The
amazing.
facial expressions. I need to find the fucking piranha bit. That's rocks. This claims to be a full playthrough. I'm hoping it is.
I love that someone just recorded themselves at the arcade cabinet.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, this is the bit where you ride a giant elephant that swings its trunk back and forth to kill spiders. Also, you have a machine gun, which is the best thing that has ever happened. Yep, the whole level's called Elephant Ride, actually. You get points for that. God, yep.
It's so dumb.
Thank you. Let's Go Jungle. Yeah, they actually went a different route because I don't think they hit the piranha level because there's multiple
the
routes.
piranha
you
level's
go
so
to,
good.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, so that's a game you don't have.
God, if I
So
ever
don't
see
buy
it.
a ticket for CoxCon because there's no Let's Go Jungle machine. But outside
There's
of that,
no reason to go now.
Yep.
Damn.
CoxCon.co.uk. They say there are a few tickets still remaining. Telford is a remote place, similar to what would happen if a car park pretended to be a town. But there is a Nando's and a cinema and a bowling alley and a few good restaurants.
There's a Nando's.
There is a
There
Nando's.
is a Nando's.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have expected Jesse would never choose a place to have a convention that didn't have a Nando's.
It would
really
be
close
in the
by.
Nando's if it was possible.
Yeah.
What is Nando's?
Oh my!
Oh,
Beautiful
you've
heaven.
never been to Nando's?
Are you ready for some top
I haven't.
bants? Yes.
I'm googling.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, you are about to enter a very interesting rabbit hole.
Oh, it's so cheeky.
Nando's.
Nando. Nando.
Nandos.
Nando's.
Okay.
Cheeky
Oh, it looks-
Nandos.
It's like kind of like soul foodish, kind of like
Not at all.
Really.
not that's no, sorry, I'm it's the wrong term.
Yeah.
Comfort food is what I meant to say.
No, not
Nope.
really that either.
It's
I
just
must-
chicken
must be getting
forever.
It's literally
Oh,
just
yeah,
chicken.
that is what I'm
It's
saying,
grilled
it's just
chicken in peri peri kind of in a peri peri chili sauce, a variety.
They
of
have a
heaps of
new one
flavors.
now, and it's so good. The new sauce is delicious.
It's like a sweet chili sauce.
No, it's
A
more
spicy
tangy.
chili sauce.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's Portuguese.
All you know is that we're now
sort
talking about
of.
Nando's.
Yeah,
It looks really good, actually.
Nando's
I
is
am
the
never gonna
fucking
be-
best. Yeah, it's basically the only reason we go to England anymore. There are a couple of them in the US. I did go to one in Washington.
I hear they're terrible. They're not as good as the British
Well,
ones.
they didn't know how to do wing roulette. We had to explain the concept of wing roulette to them.
What is
In
even
Washington State
the
or
point?
Washington D.C.?
Yeah. I can't believe that the concept never went over. It's probably a liability thing. Someone would sue them. In the UK, nope. They're not going to do that. Plate 10 wings. One of them is extra hot. Spin the plate. Take a wing. Keep going until you hit the fucking volcanic hot one. That's wing roulette. And it's literally on the menu and you can buy it.
We tried to do that with our with our wedding cupcakes because we made it so that because we had wedding cupcakes instead of a cake, and we made it a roulette so nobody knew what flavor they were getting. There were
Okay.
like
So
lots of
funny.
different flavors. And I pitched pretty hard for there to be one cupcake that was just jalapeno. And I was talked out of it because there were old people and we didn't want anybody having a
I mean,
fucking heart attack.
Yeah,
but
not murdering one of your guests might be.
I wanted it so bad. They were like, what if it had been you? What if you ate the jalapeno one? I was like, amazing. That would be
That's
amazing.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dude, I
yeah.
want jalapeno cupcake now.
Right?
No.
I wonder how it would
I
taste.
don't
like
want
a
that.
good spicy sweet.
Oh
Like a-
man, but jalapeno cornbread though, that's like put it in
Ooh.
cupcake form, and that is life.
Dude, jalapeno biscuits, sausage biscuits from Whataburger. One of the few things I miss about Texas.
Yep.
Jalapeno
Do you
biscuit
know-
sausage.
Do
It's
you
not
Is
know-
burger.
PAX
in
South
North
again? When
Carolina-
can I go back?
In North Carolina, we
January?
have Whataburger that is not that chain at all, but is still called Whataburger. You're aware of that?
In
And
where?
each
Weird.
in North Carolina, and it's and each
And they're
restaurant
different.
has an individual number. Yeah, completely not the same chain in any way.
Weird.
But we have Whataburger.
That's interesting.
I don't I exactly know what the story behind that is. It's a bit of
Did they
a
put
bit
a
of an odd
space
one.
between it? Like what a burger?
It's what dash a dash
It's
burger.
different.
So it's like In and Out,
Hyphenated.
but not.
Huh.
Yeah. Apparently it
Yeah.
started.
What a burger.
Apparently it
Yeah.
started in Virginia, and then the Whataburger, which is all one word, is the Texas-based one.
Or
Which
like
is a lot better.
Chick-fil-A.
I'm seeing people call it water burger. That's what I used to call it when I was a kid. It's what a burger.
What
all
a
one
burger.
word.
Yeah.
Why
I
Water
used to think
burger?
Water burger. That doesn't sound very good.
Whataburger.
yeah,
Yes.
I wouldn't eat that.
Delicious Whataburgers.
a water burger.
Yep. I hear they serve them in Flint these days.
Extra water sauce on top.
Ugh. Yes.
Dude, my fave when I was in Oregon, my fave was Sonic Burger. They're like jalapeno burgers were so good. Speaking of jalapenos.
All I want to do is give a shout out. If we're talking about food, shout out to Ted's in Buffalo, New York. Ted's hot dogs, best hot dogs in this nation, hands down. Y'all are missing out.
Holy
so
shit.
good.
Apparently, Jesse, we have to go. Apparently there's a place in Los Angeles that's like a sushi place with the conveyor belt, right? But they gamify it. So for every like however many plates you eat, you get a gotcha. We gotta go.
God damn it.
We gotta go.
Teamwork. We can do it.
Right?
Also, speaking of gamifying food, so this past weekend at
You
Evo, we
had
went
a
out one night to
segue
this
from
place.
this. Cool. All right. Sure. Go for it.
This place we went to at in Mandalay Bay was called Boiler Room RX. I want to give them a shout out because this place was crazy. It was like it was like steampunk restaurant, but
Cool.
it was all very creative foods. So
Vegas has
things
got
like
exceptional for food over the last couple of years, by the way. It's become like foodie capital of the world at this point. It's fucking amazing.
yeah, it was things like chicken pot pie nuggets, for example. Where it was
I
like
saw Kristen tweet out the picture of those.
yes. So
That
things like
work?
that. But at the end of the night, when they were like, does anyone want dessert? We were like, nah, nah. But they were like, well, we have a game. And if you get this ice cream, it was an ice cream tray. So it's 8 baby scoops of ice cream. And as you taste them, if you can figure out what the flavors are, they'll give it to you for free. So it became like this
That sounds
Challenge.
awesome.
Let's
That's
play.
fine.
And so everyone's like, Kristen got all but 2 right. She was very close.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so it was one of those things where it's just like, okay, let's see what this game is. And everyone sort of like tried to figure it out. That was super fun. It was super fun. I love stuff like that. Gamify
Yeah.
everything if you can. Just
Right?
gamify everything.
Clever poetess all desserts. I like it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
That's
you might
exactly
as
what
well,
it was.
Since you've got onto the subject, you might as well talk about Evo. You were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Evo every year is super, super cool. I think it was, I want to say that this year, I think their change of putting Melee on the second night and not the final day on Sunday might have hurt the overall attendance on Sunday. For some reason, I don't claim to know the world of Smash, but Melee still kills it every year. People love it and they continue to love it, and
Yeah.
they will not accept anything new. They just will not move on. And the response to Wii U Smash was not nearly as good as Melee, and
I mean,
think
it
just because
hasn't been at all.
You're right, though.
ever,
It never
has
is.
Yeah.
and they I think it's Nintendo pushing like, hey, promote that, make that your Sunday thing. But yeah, I feel like that was a huge issue. And when it came down to it on Sunday, it was really humorous to see. So we thought it was going to be insane on the floor level. We thought it was going to be super packed. We were ready. We got tickets in the front row. We were like, this is going to be the hypest. Apparently last year, the floor seats didn't have screens, so you could not see what was going on. You
That
could,
is
because you have to
less
look
than
up
ideal.
like this.
Right.
And this year they had giant TVs everywhere. And so you could see the stage, you could see the TV, you could see the screens up above. Apparently, everyone just assumed like last year there was not going to be anything down there. So there was like nobody down the floor seats. Everyone was around the top. So it was like just a few of us down there. It was very weird. And so they kept panning by us because we were right by where everyone was walking off stage. And it would just be like the 8 of us, like, hi, and then the empty seats. It was so funny. We were just like, oh, they didn't think through this at all.
It's strange that they even kept panning the cameras, because usually an event like that, they will go out of their way not to show.
Well, eventually,
empty
when they
seats and
finally
stuff.
did it, when they did the Smash tournament on Disney XD and when they did Street Fighter on ESPN, they only focus on certain parts of the crowd.
Yes, they would be much more careful with that.
They
yeah.
no longer came back to us, except for at one point they did. They on Disney they strolled by us, and some people were sending us pictures of us like, hi. But yeah, it was it's an amazingly fun event. If you want to compete, it's super entertaining to watch and watch you get your butt kicked by players that are infinitely better than you. And then the finals are always like, if you watch the Street Fighter finals this year, my God, those were back and forth every single match except for like the very, very end. And the very end was a comeback that was
it's 5 they do it. Did they do 4 as well, or have they just moved completely to 5 now?
5.
Right.
Yeah.
Haven't followed 5 as much as I used to follow 4. 4 was one of my favorites to watch.
This is the last year that they did Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as well, right?
Well, yeah, Capcom is
time.
attempting to move to Infinite, much to the chagrin of everybody, apparently. Because, let's be honest, they're not doing well on the PR front when it comes to Infinite at the moment. It doesn't help that Dragon Ball FighterZ is looking pretty much better in every way.
Man, everyone was so excited for that.
And they just announced fucking a cross-battle game between BlazBlue, Persona, Under Night in Birth, and whatever that anime that Rooster Teeth did, was it RWBY? Is that what they call it? Right, yeah.
Yeah, that got the crowd really hype after that happened. People were like losing their mind. That looks really cool. It's always BlazBlue is always an incredibly fun thing to watch. I might not know what the hell's going on in it, but visually it's super entertaining. Yeah, they put Marvel vs. Capcom the very first thing at 7:45 a.m. on a Sunday in Vegas. I don't imagine I slept through the whole damn thing. And usually I'm about Marvel, but this year I just didn't care. Yeah, I guess it's just sort of fading away. But I woke up specifically to go to BlazBlue because that stuff always entertains. And then
I never liked watching Marvel 3. and it
Neither.
mostly, I mean, I've never liked the aesthetic of Marvel 3. Like, I'll be on the contrarian side of saying that while Infinite's got some pretty fucking serious visual issues, overall, I prefer the look of it to 3. I think the sort of pseudo comic book style they did in 3 with the massive overemphasis on black stroke and stuff just did not work out. I don't think it looks great in motion, and also it's a game that involves locking people down into very long combos, which to me is not all that interesting to watch. I prefer like seeing some like Killer Instinct where people can break out of that and reversals and all sorts of things. But I understand that it's also great on a high level. I just don't personally appreciate it. But
well, that's kind of what I like about Blaze Blue is that you can do those crazy combos, but it doesn't just end the game. Like it doesn't do terrific amounts of damage. It just looks awesome, and then you can go back to fighting and stuff. I like that about it. Guilty Gear, I think, is equally as entertaining to watch.
I love watching
yes.
Guilty Gear. Shout out to our buddy Octo who got in top 100 this year.
Yeah, man.
Hold on to
Guilty Gear's so good. That was
Shout out to
Saturday
the guy
night.
who, by the way, I've still beaten in a set of Tekken 7, and I'm never gonna let him live that down.
Tekken was actually pretty cool to watch this year. It's much slower than everything else that was there, so you got to see some of the more like fundamental gameplay stuff. It was, I mean, I'm not a huge Tekken fan, but it was fun to watch. Smash was I thought pretty entertaining. The crowd is so fickle. That last match was just like people turning on each other depending on which way it went. The crowd was behind. It didn't matter who they were behind. And then at the very end, the crowd reaction was, "Oh, Bayonetta's just broken," which was hilarious. It's like, no, he just won. Like nothing's broken there. And then Street Fighter this year was the first time in a long time Americans had a chance to go all the way. And shout out to Punk for almost making it. That dude, his whole family was there cheering him on. It was amazing. But that comeback from Tokido was crazy. If you can go watch the finals, it was like a man who had played Punk like all day was playing next level, just like destroying people, and then Tokido just appears like from nowhere, just like, "I've been waiting so long for this moment. Today is my year," and just came in there.
Oh, that's anime as fuck.
Oh, it was super anime. It was like
Punk is really young too, right?
Yeah. I felt so bad for him because it was on ESPN. We saw just like what the normal cameras were doing. I have no idea what ESPN showed, but the camera footage, what we saw, the raw footage, they just kept the camera on him as they were doing the award ceremony, just on his face. And I was like, "Oh, let that poor boy go. Let that poor boy go. He is like holding back tears. Let him go." Turn the camera off because he was playing the best he'd ever. Like, I don't think anyone played as good as he did, and he just couldn't make it at the end. And it sucked. He was so heartbroken, but he'll be back. He'll be fine. That kid is talented as hell. So yeah, it was huge. And every year it gets bigger and crazier and more people enter, and it's also in Vegas, y'all. If you I'm telling you, you should come.
Which is a really fun fucking town.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, that was Evo then. Mr. PeanutButterGamer, could you tell me what you've been playing over the last couple of weeks? What's been going on?
I picked up Grimrock 2, which I'm really
Legend of Grimrock,
enjoying. Yeah, I had played. This is my third time restarting it. I got about halfway through both times, and I'm finally gonna finish it. It's one of those games where you jump back in and you're like, I forget where I've been. I forget what I've done. I'm just gonna restart everything. Plus, I kind of like remaking my party anyway. So I've been playing that in my spare time. I've also been playing a little game called Death Road to Canada.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We have played Death Road, certainly.
I love that.
You were in my Death Road lineup, I believe. All of you were. I think you survived. Not 100% sure on that one though.
Yeah, playing with the familiar characters is fun. I'm pretty sure it's easier to win, which I have still yet to do if you play with the what is it called? The Heroes. The one where you play with like familiar characters, I think is what it's called. You can like find Link and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
I'm pretty
probably
sure that's
overpowered,
the
I imagine.
version.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game's a whole lot of fun. I played a little bit of Splatoon 2 as well. But unfortunately, I have to mention that game was provided to me by Nintendo. So there's that.
Yeah, as much as I'd love to show footage of Splatoon 2, I don't want them taking 50% of my revenue for fucking nothing, so I'm not going to do that. But talk to me about Splatoon 2. I didn't get a chance to play the Splat test fire or whatever the hell they had, the few hours worth of demo, because I'm not going to schedule my life around that shit.
It sounds like they just left in a bunch of issues from the first one that always really pissed me off, so I'm interested to hear what Austin thinks.
Don't get too hyped for my discussion or anything, because they first of all, they had so many. I was gone with Jesse at Indie PopCon, so I didn't get a big chance to play it. But also, they had a lot of specific things you couldn't mention. Mostly the things I wanted to actually do videos on. So I kind of didn't. Sure, even
sounds like working with Nintendo, which I never.
They're not always like that, but for some reason with Splatoon, they were. Splatoon 2 rather. So the only thing I really did was play some of the multiplayer, but they didn't send. There was nothing wrong with the internet or with the connection or anything, but they didn't give enough review copies out. So I was having a hard time finding matches. I think I'm at level 5 now. So.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, some of the guys in the office got a copy of it as well, and when we were gone, they kept trying to play, and there was just no one on to play with.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I don't know what they hope to achieve, because you figure people would play at those times, but because the times are so specific, most people can't play at those times.
I mean, yeah. In my opinion, Nintendo has just not cared about reviews for an extremely long time, because they can deliver a message to a rabid group of people rapidly over the internet without really having to worry about the press anymore. So they're not really going out of the way to hide their disdain for the press, honestly, at this point.
Well, they're nice to me, but...
Look, I'm not going to say anything. I want a copy of Fire Emblem Warriors. So
yeah, yes.
All right, no, just confirm or deny for me, right? You still can't switch out your weapon in between matches.
I'm pretty sure you can't. But don't take my word for that. Don't take my word for that. I'm pretty sure you can't, though.
Confirm or deny for me. You can't see the loadout. You can't see what any of the other people on your team are picking for their weapons, what weapons they have.
I'm pretty sure that
until you're in the match.
Yeah, because you don't see them. You just see it's the same as the first game.
They have a game that's trying to compete with other multiplayer games. You gotta fucking come on.
This really is a good point. I don't play.
This is literally the same fucking thing as the last game, just with a 2 on it. By the sounds of it.
It looks cuter.
Oh, cool. That's what.
First of all, it's not on the Wii U. That's one thing down. But I don't know. I have from people that have played it more. My friend, his name is Todd. He works with me a lot. He played Splatoon a lot, and he played a few rounds of it and said that there was some stuff better about it. I just don't know enough about Splatoon to.
That's very specific.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. Don't get too hyped up for my my opinion on Splatoon 2. I played maybe half an hour of it. It does. From a novice perspective, it does seem a lot like it is very similar to the first one. There's a lot of new maps and weapons and things, but it's pretty similar. I'm actually looking forward to playing it, though. I didn't play a lot of the Wii U one because not a lot of people I knew really had a Wii U, but almost everyone I know has a Switch. So I'm hoping to get some hours.
Not being on the Wii U is a feature.
That is actually a feature. Unfortunately,
I saw a thread on a forum a couple of weeks ago. It's like, what Wii U games should be ported to the Switch? All of them is the answer because they didn't sell very well. That and there's this weird. I was like, well, I want people to work on new games instead of ports of stuff that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, firstly, obviously, barely anybody owned that damn system and played on it anyway. Secondly, it is a portable device. There is value in porting literally everything to it because it is now a portable device.
Yeah, they're porting Stardew Valley to the Switch and Rocket League, which I'm really
why should they not? Why, for what possible reason? Would you not want to do that?
I would buy Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for the third time if they re-released it on the Switch. I really would, because I have the. To be fair, I didn't buy, I guess, the 2 Wii U remakes. They were sent to me, but I would buy the same games for the Switch just so I can take it on the go.
Yeah,
because that's what I always wanted.
Massive
anyway.
selling point, without question.
I just like that Nintendo's making very obvious fan servicey characters now. I'm okay with it. I think it is super funny that they're just like, here, internet pervs, enjoy.
I feel bad for Pearl. Everybody's shitting on Pearl. She's just a tiny gremlin. Let her live her life.
I don't know what that is. Why,
Pearl?
What is the story of Pearl? Why is this happening?
Because like Splatoon 1 had like the 2 host characters, right? And Splatoon 2 has 2 new host like squid characters.
Okay.
And one of them's named Marceline and one of them's named Pearl, and Marceline is like hot and Pearl is like tiny and like meh. But that's how everybody draws her, so that's how I think of her now. I feel so bad for her.
It's not that fun, I guess. I think she's funny. She's likable.
There's definitely been, I think, over the last couple of years, been more of a awareness by
Marina.
companies.
Sorry,
that's what I said.
Chad is.
I was gonna say
jumping on my dick.
I could. No, it's okay. I got you, girl. Rewind it. Rewind the VOD.
Anyway, I think it's been more of an awareness from companies over the last couple of years as to the veracity of fan art communities and the thing that builds up around a particular title and what it can actually do for them long term on a commercial level. Yeah, well, I mean, I think Overwatch is probably the thing that brought that sharply into focus on a AAA level, and Undertale's probably the thing that brought that sharply into focus on an indie level. So you can't necessarily ignore that. There's quite a few companies that may even be going out of their way to chase that. We keep bringing up Battleborn as something that was probably trying to chase that. I mean, when Randy Pitchford was literally asking people to draw on porn of the characters, it does become a little transparent as to what you're trying to do there.
Hashtag Twintel.
Has nothing to do with Battleborn.
Speaking of ARMS, I think that's one thing.
I'm just saying, people.
Nintendo, that was one thing I think they really missed out on ARMS, because I played a lot more of that. It's a really fun little game, and they have these really interesting characters that I think people wanted to latch onto, but they didn't really insert any story into it. There was no lore. There was like, oh, well, Min Min owns a noodle shop. Okay, like what about, like, what's the noodle shop?
That?
Like, you know, like they didn't go into any detail.
No, they didn't.
Right.
I mean, ARMS
really
is a solid game. I like ARMS, and I like the fact that, hey, it's new IP. I played it with the missus. She enjoyed it, even though she had difficulty with the whole 3D spatial awareness thing. She could still play it, and it's got a lot of value. But like a lot of things with the Switch, it's like this could have done with 6 months more in the oven.
Yeah.
And the lore in particular, or complete lack thereof, like visually, you have designed some interesting looking characters, and there is nothing else of any sort there.
Yeah, it really left me feeling wanting for something, because they hinted at so much. Like, I was like, oh, they're gonna expand on this. Maybe you just need to beat some of the campaigns or something, and it's like there really wasn't any.
No, there isn't.
Well,
story.
This goes back to a thing that I think is kind of, every time I see it, I'm like, ugh, really, guys? But I enjoy it and I love it. So go watch the new trailer / explanation video Overwatch posted for Doomfist. In that video, it's them saying like how Doomfist was created. The very, very end, one of the guys is like, what will Doomfist bring to the world of Overwatch? What plans does he have for all of our heroes? Time will tell, but he's up to like one of those stupid things. I was like, ugh, shoot me. But then I was like, people eat this shit up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people like that. Like
we'll never see like a Doomfist single player campaign where they have to fight him. That's never going to happen. But that little bit of story, everyone's like, oh, he's the bad guy. Gotcha. And so people love that stuff. And, you know, I think that's kind of cool. I'm not going to hate on that. I was like, oh, never mind. That little bit of stuff is all people want.
They know
Yeah.
what they're doing in that
keep playing.
regard. Their strategy when it comes to getting people invested in those characters has worked to a fucking T.
Yeah.
There's not a question about that, which is why other companies are looking to it as a model. But
when-
I couldn't agree with Austin more on this, like that ARMS is a giant missed opportunity in that respect.
But like when you look at Overwatch, again, it's a nonsensical, like he's the villain, but you know, he's gonna hang out with 76 and like fight off Symmetra.
I mean,
It's nonsense.
we've been thinking about that since the fucking alpha. That the way that this works is nonsense, but it doesn't
But
matter.
no one cares.
Yeah,
Nobody cares.
You don't have to, as it turns out, connect character lore, world building, and backstory to the actual game mechanics. You don't have to do that for people to still like it.
Yep.
As long as you make your characters fun and cool enough, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's a bunch of bullshit. It wasn't even Overwatch that did it first. There's a bunch of bullshit going back to Team Fortress 2, you know, in particular, on stuff like that. And even before that, where it's like, the game mode makes no fucking sense with the actual world building and universe. Not a problem.
We've played games where, and I understand like the inkling to do this. We've played games where they force you to sort of do a campaign in order to unlock those other characters, right? So that it's built on lore, so that it's this guy is a bad guy, but once you like play a little bit more, then like you'll unlock that character because then they're on your side, right? Like that kind of a thing. And I get it, but it adds like this weird extra tedium.
Yes,
that people
really
don't enjoy.
It's a strange. It's gaming is strange when you look at it. What we're saying is a game where you shoot people and you have like colorful characters and some backstory, but it's all sort of online and in videos and stuff. That's okay for Overwatch. But when it came to Destiny, people were like, fuck this game for not having a story in the game. Right. And I love that because Destiny was like, well, it is story based. People were furious that the story wasn't in there. But Overwatch is like, nah, I mean, there's
it's
a story.
Level of expectation.
But, yeah.
You know, you set the expectation. People, they set the expectation with Destiny as to what it would be, which is this grand, sweeping fucking MMO in a new IP and universe, telling you a story. It's like, hey, we got Peter Dinklage on to do this and all that kind of stuff. They set that expectation and then failed utterly to deliver on it. And then people were pissed. Whereas Overwatch never set that expectation.
Yeah, it's crazy. Had they not set up that to begin with, I don't know what magic boardroom meeting they had when they were like, well, Titans failed, but let's salvage what we can. And what they chose to do was super smart on every single level. Super smart. They took all their assets and made the best use they could of it. It's genius. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I think they also probably took a lot of ideas from the fact that in things like Dota 2, League of Legends, games in that genre, you got big, diverse character roster. The game mode makes zero fucking sense. And it's full of things that make no fucking sense at all. And yet people do care about the characters beyond just the kit, if they're well developed enough. Visually, stylistically, in terms of their voice acting and their lines, their relationship with other characters. Yeah, they do matter. That does matter to people, even if the game mode that they're then engaging in is completely nonsensical in that context.
Yeah, I mean, even the fact that when people play a game of Overwatch and there's a new, like, you know, when you're idling and ready to go out, there's new lines between two characters. People lose their shit over that.
Yes.
Because they love like the connections and all of that, even if it's small.
During the event in England, the one that they had, every time you play that, you'd hear new lines. They just had lines hidden in that thing. And every time you're like, oh, do you hear what they said to each other? Oh my goodness. It was super fun. I love stuff like that. And they sort of give you just a little bit over time. I am curious what happens because everyone's like, where's my, can I get a single player? Can I do this? I'm curious what happens if they add that to the game. What happens to the storytelling in the community then?
I honestly don't think they ever will.
I don't think so. I think
that's not the game they're making.
No, they have shown that the co-op, like doing small vignette co-op style things, works, and I think that's probably what they will focus on as a result of that. Could they make a single player Overwatch game, a separate one? Yeah. You know, the StarCraft ghost of Overwatch, as it were. Probably
I
a
wanted to play
terrible
that game so badly.
Hey, we played it back in 2005, and it
Did
wasn't
it actually
too
have a
fucking.
playable version?
Yeah, it was running on the original Xbox at BlizzCon. You could play it. We
The
played
very
it.
first one. Yep.
Not too bad. If had they
Man,
actually developed it.
That kills me because I just had it on like Game Informer and I was like, man, I can't wait for this game.
It was
and
real.
and then eventually it just never came out and I was like, what the heck happened?
Yeah, what they've kind of said is that sort of what they were attempting to achieve with StarCraft Ghosts campaign, they then achieved with Nova Covert Ops, which is the
With what?
Nova Covert Ops, which is the expansion DLC for StarCraft 2, which is more focused on small group tactics than actual RTS, and
there's
focuses
a
on
lot of
Nova as a
stuff-
character.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that they added. There's like a car driving sequence and like there's all sorts of cool stuff they added to that. There's boss fights. So yeah, if you want to see what probably Ghost would have been, go download that. It's like $20 or something like that.
That's good. It is a lot of fun. It's not the same as the campaigns really at all, which is probably a good thing.
Right.
Yeah. That was a sad loss. I think there's a few things that I don't mind that they cancelled, but even playing Ghost in a rough form back then in that multiplayer, basically Ghost multiplayer was a better version of the latest Battlefront. In fact, I'd say it was even on the level of the older Battlefronts. It worked in a very similar way. Like, you could earn points to spawn as a better thing. Like, the top level unit I think that they had in that demo was a Mutalisk, if you're playing Zerg, which was obviously the only flying unit that you had access to. So you got enough points to earn a Mutalisk, you'd fly around the map fucking people up in a serious way. You could play as a Hydralisk, you could play as a Lurker, I think.
Just sit there underground.
Oh yeah, you could be a total dick with it. There was a couple of other things you could do, and obviously it was Terran versus Zerg. I don't know if they had any intention of putting Protoss in as a playable multiplayer faction. That would have been
They
pretty cool
definitely
as
had
well.
screenshots of someone. I don't know if it was Zeratul. It was someone was in there as a character, but it might have been for the main story. But I remember seeing a
Right.
screenshot of a Protoss like, oh my god. Yeah.
It was very much a Command and Conquer Renegade style of game, which was also good, by the way. And Renegade X, which was the free modern remake of that, still is active and still has players, and you should actually play it because it's really cool. It's actually really, really awesome. It's one of those games that have always flopped because this concept just doesn't work because of the human element to it, where you've got, there's a base building aspect to it, but everyone's a grunt in this sort of war, but one person's a commander. Well, Renegade X solved that by not having a commander. It's like, because they knew that the dynamic between those two things in unorganized teams doesn't fucking work for the most part because of the human element to it. They just said, no commander. So if you defend the Harvester, if the Harvester gets back with Tiberium, you're going to get upgrades eventually, and that's going to happen automatically, and you're going to get new classes and access to vehicles and shit, and there's going to be no commander element to it, which is why it worked. I don't know how we got here from Overwatch, but hey.
Well, we started at Splatoon 2, I think.
That we did. We learned very little about Splatoon 2. I'll say that. Well, the interesting, and I downloaded the demo and played for about 5 minutes of it. I just didn't have the time when it released a couple of days back. But that was my first experience of the gyro tilt aiming. And I was surprised by how much I liked it. And I think
I used it on the Wii U version.
And I think on the Switch, and you've already played a little bit on the Switch, but you can maybe tell me, it's better, right? I mean, the sensors... The gyro is better in the Switch, right?
I do think it's better. I actually switched off of it for the first time, mostly because I was playing with someone else and we were kind of switching the controller back and forth. And so it was just a little awkward, but I did enjoy it on the Wii U, and I do think that it is a little bit better on the Switch version. I'll probably switch back to it once it comes out.
Yeah, and I think maybe as a portable device, that might make more sense, depending on the size and the ergonomics of it.
Yeah, because you're looking at the controller, which I always thought with the 3DS made the motion or gyro or whatever for like Zelda when you're aiming with the bow or something. You know, you just kind of use the joystick and then like you can kind of adjust the aim more precisely with the
Yeah.
gyro. I actually kind of like gyro controls. Depends on the situation.
If they're implemented well, I mean, I've been an advocate of the Wii remote style of first-person shooter for a while because it basically emulates a mouse. You know, this is actually a good way to control an FPS. It works.
I think it especially worked well for. I won't play any other version of this game now. Resident Evil 4. I think
It did work well in
slow
that.
paced anyway, so it helps. You do the stop and you aim, and it makes those situations a little more intense to me. But also you still have better control over it at the same time.
I mean, did you play Red Steel 2? I think
I
that's one of the best
actually
examples of that
didn't
I've
play
ever done.
Red Steel 2. I played Red Steel 1 and
Red
hated
Steel
it.
sucked. Red Steel 2, phenomenal game. Like, forget that Red Steel even exists. They brought out Red Steel 2 with the Wii Motion Plus. It is one of the best examples of a first-person shooter done on console that I've ever fucking played. And it's because they completely understood why the point the Wiimote plus nunchuck in one hand method is good for first-person aiming. It's very good for it. Yeah, give it a try. Gyro is not the same as that, but done well, it can be similar. And I certainly didn't hate it on my first impression. I know it's divisive. I know some people are like, oh, no, I never use that. And then some like, no, it's better that way. I know there's a bit more customization this time, as to you can have some gyro. You can turn certain features of the gyro off. But I think that's actually a control method I'd be willing to learn, because there is nothing I hate more than analog stick aiming in first and third person shooters.
Yeah, same.
It sucks.
I think it does work great, because especially because you're having to kind of precisely cover as much of ground as possible. So it's a little, I mean, like, I'm probably similar to you, and I don't play shooters on consoles ever, really.
Yeah.
So it kind of is a little annoying to me, but if I can just kind of like slightly tilt my hand a little bit to cover the extra ground, I think that works pretty well. Gyro's always worked well for aiming to me on like 3DS and Wii U, because you kind of just use the joystick, and then slight adjustments are more precise with the mild movements for the gyro, I feel.
I've been hearing lately, and it's not a control. I have a Steam controller, but I don't use it. That lately, especially with the additional developments, because the Steam controller is a very weird thing. We don't hear a lot about it, but there's a very dedicated base of people that do like it, and because a lot of the development is done by the user base and everything's uploadable to the Steam Workshop, we're seeing sort of entirely new methods of controlling games using this thing. And I'm told that lately there are some excellent examples of using the Steam controller gyro as an aiming mechanism for first-person shooters. And that's very intriguing to me. I didn't even know that the
Steam controller had gyro.
It does. It apparently has very good gyro, so I'm told.
I've just used the 360 controller. I'm gonna have to check it out. I've heard people say it was good, but I'm just like, 360 is fine.
There's a lot of getting used to it. I don't like the owl face buttons. I don't. If I'm going to use an analog stick-like thing, I would just prefer to use analog sticks. But the thing is, a lot of people also said the same thing and said, yeah, but that's not all the Steam controller can do, though, because we've got this gyro and it's really good. What if instead of using the owl face buttons as nasty trackpads, we started using the gyro more, and we're starting to see new control schemes be developed for existing games using this thing, and people saying, this is actually good. There's a number of people in chat that apparently uses the Steam controller. They're saying, yeah, I use gyro for certain games on a regular basis, and it's a really good alternative.
Huh.
Apparently the gyro in the PS4 controller is fucking shit compared to the Steam controller. Like, Steam controller blows it out of the water.
Yeah, I'll have to try it out. I need to try some gyro on my Stardew Valley playthroughs.
Yeah,
you can see how that works.
Get all those eggs.
I've actually never had farm animals in Stardew. I just have yet to do it.
What?
I just don't care about them. I'm gonna do it one of these days, but
that's fascinating. What an interesting play.
I gotta have my alcohol.
I get it, dog. I get it.
One of these days, I'll have some chickens.
Badum Tish. That's a perfect time to go to the break. When we come back, more about the games that we've been playing this week. You're watching the Co-optional Podcast, the least relevant show on the internet. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-optional Podcast. Hopefully you enjoyed the sounds of Big Giant Circles from his Imposter Nostalgia album, as well as Lenny Elvis song by Inonzer from the original Dragon Age, the good one.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Oh, were you going to argue with me on that one?
I don't like any Dragon Age games.
Okay,
really,
well,
so.
all right, that's fine then. That's a point of view that I
Get
can
on
accept.
Dragon
It's like,
Age?
well,
Wow.
actually, the best one was Dragon Age 2, I'll have you know. And
No one has ever said that. That
No.
never.
I
That'll
think,
never be.
actually, I think PC Gamer did. Like, after they gave it a 95, and then everyone was like, what are you doing?
I didn't
Which
know
game
2
did
was
you
bad.
play?
I thought it was Inquisition. That was the one that everyone
2
didn't like.
I mean, 2 was
2's
horribly
worse than-
rushed. I mean, they put it out in like less than a year, basically. Huge amount of reused assets, a lot of bugs and problems with it. Inquisition also sucks, but for different reasons.
I've never played it. I have friends that really love the series, and they always say the first one's better.
I mean,
Classic
just play
BioWare
the first
RPG
one. It's really all you need to play.
I just
That-
hated the way that the first one's controlled. I didn't like the feel of playing those games, so I didn't play
I,
them
uh,
very long.
Did it play like KOTOR, where it freezes before the combat starts?
Yeah, I mean, you could pause it at any time. You could do it from an isometric view. You could do it some of a pseudo third-person view. It was basically classic CRPG combat.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I remember. I'm gonna confess something right now to all of you out there.
He's got a confession to make. I'm sorry.
We can do Foo Fighters too. That's fine.
The best?
So I played through the first Dragon Age about, I don't know, 5 hours and stopped. And then for years did not continue to play it until I finally played it again on PC and then just used the command prompts to hack the game and make my character like level 99999 and just destroyed it just so I could see the story. That's
I mean,
it.
The game
So,
wasn't
I didn't earn it.
hard unless you played it on the hardest difficulty.
I didn't earn shit. No, I played it on like super easy story mode and I just wrecked stuff. So I
Okay.
cheated. I cheated the hell out of that game. And I want everyone to know I still feel pretty good about that.
I mean,
I did
experience
it-
it however you want. I'm just confused that anyone would find the easy mode of that game too hard.
Well, I didn't want to like spend a lot of time on it. I wanted to play it. I wanted to bang characters, but I didn't want to have to level up, which
Sure.
solid choice, I feel.
Huh. Well,
Yep.
I also have a confession to make.
Uh-huh.
Heat lightning isn't real, as has been pointed out to me by legions of Actually, the
Actual
the
Floridians?
No, Actually is the patron saint and superhero of being right on the internet. Actually,
Of course. Yes.
Ah,
Actually.
heat lightning is actually a misnomer for just lightning that's further away. It's
interesting.
a colloquialism. It's not a real meteorological phenomenon. So I apologize to anybody that came to co-optional for accurate meteorological information. God, that's even
As
harder to
everyone
say.
does.
Yes, as everybody does.
I'm going to have to resign
It's
from the
just
podcast
like
for letting you all down.
it's just lightning that's further away. Not that it really changes
Got it.
any of the points you made about it, but it is just lightning further away. So there we go.
Right.
You
You
can
Alright.
stop tweeting now. Thank you. I will, however, not stop tweeting dogs. So
I had so many people message me being like, "Is TB okay?"
I am
'Cause
phenomenal.
His
That's a
feed
sign
is,
that I'm
is
really.
kind of weird. And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's tweeting his favorite thing in the universe: dogs.
Yeah.
He's good.
Are you-
He's fine.
Is it being
Funny.
hacked? It's like you. How do you not know that I like dogs? Like,
I enjoy that you got all of the "Is TB okay" comments, and mine were like, "What's he doing now? Why is he doing this? What's happening? He just trolling
What kind
us?"
of ploy is this? What is this shit?
what is
Yeah,
this
I got
scheme?
those.
Yeah.
What's behind it?
Mhm.
Like, you're clearly in on this. What's going on over there? Like, I don't know. Don't talk to me.
It's like, they're good dogs, Brent.
They're good dogs.
All of them are good dogs. All dogs are good dogs.
Mm.
It's like you need a reason to do that. What bothers me the most, and yeah, I'm gonna roast a couple of people on this because it's fucking fun. It's like, oh, you shouldn't be back on social media. It's like, yeah, but I'm actually having fun now. Like, this isn't the problem. Like, I'm not having to go to
Yeah.
therapy for it. This is fun. And it's like, well, by doing this, I like to use Twitter for important things. And I can't
That's
see
not
the
what's
important things because there are too many dogs. Yes, the important things that Twitter is used for.
Right.
All of those important things.
You've
Which are?
really never followed Ego Raptor on a Saturday when all he does is retweet like barely dressed anime girls, which is
Beauty Saturday.
my
Best.
favorite. I've
It's
never
great.
appreciated more a man in my life. He's just literally giving me like half naked women on a Saturday. It's great. I'm like, thanks, dude.
I followed a bunch of artists that just because he's retweeted them.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
I've just
Okay,
retweeted 3 more dogs.
There you go.
That's what's gonna happen.
There's
Just to really
nothing
drive
wrong
it
with a
home.
good dog or 20.
Yep. I wish I could
Absolutely
retweet all the dogs. That isn't practical, unfortunately, because we have been sent quite literally over 1,000 pictures of people's dogs over the last 12 hours,
Beautiful.
which is wonderful.
That's the way that life should be.
It
He
is.
wants
Filled
gifts,
with cute
people.
dogs.
Gifts, not just pics.
No,
Get
I
out.
actually don't. Like, I'm fine. I'm fine
That's
with
a
still
lot of work for
images.
somebody to make a gif of their own dog.
Is
Well,
it though?
that's
If you
fine.
loved your dog, you would.
Yes.
If
Still
you want that,
images is fine.
retweet.
If you want that TB, you gotta pay with.
No, you don't.
Yep.
All dogs are good dogs. You don't need to pay for anything. It's like, is my dog up to standard? There is no such thing as up to standard for dogs. They are dogs. Therefore,
Yeah.
all dogs are up to standard.
Damn.
My
Um,
wife
that is
and I
just
are
All
reality.
kinda-
dogs go to heaven. Is what I learned.
Indeed.
my wife and I are kind of trying to decide whether we want to have a kid in a few years or just get a third dog.
The
It's
third
more
dog
meat
is the obvious choice.
Yeah,
of
I'll be
that.
real with you. That dog is yeah.
Trust me, as a father, get a third dog. It's
Damn,
much
The
easier.
dog will not grow up to be an asshole. You know this to be a fact.
It is I used to be more of a cat person because I never really had dogs growing up. And that is eventually what I learned. You have a much better chance of having a good dog than a good cat. Good
Yeah.
cats are great, but
what?
all
Cats and
dogs
dogs.
are good.
All dogs are
Both of
good.
my cats are great.
Yes,
No, well,
that's what they have conditioned you into believing. Yes,
What?
the
I'm not
ownership,
saying-
All cats are good cats.
the
That's not
ownership
true.
of a cat is basically Stockholm
dare you.
syndrome on a mass scale. You know,
I only had one good cat. I rescued him out of the bushes when he was a baby, and then he died when he was 1 year old, and that was it for me with cats. So and now
Aw.
I'm dogs.
I was expecting, and the only reason it was good is because he died and didn't bother me anymore.
No, I couldn't do it again.
What the fuck?
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
a puppy, and my first
You better hope that my kitties aren't hearing this.
it's kind of like the Harvey Dent thing. He just didn't live long enough to see himself become the villain.
Probably.
No.
Oh no, I don't want to get into it. It's too sad. He really liked my other cat though, and the older one, and that cat hated him. So I felt
Aw.
bad. He really
Uh,
wanted to be buddies.
I have known multiple people who have been in that scenario where they have like 2 or 3 cats, and one cat is like, "Aren't we all friends?" And the other cat is just like, "Fucking leave me alone. I hate you." I'm so grateful that my cats love each other.
Animal pet dynamics are really funny. We have a giant white German Shepherd, purebred. He wasn't like a runt or anything either. He was the second in his breed, like his older brother or whatever. I guess he wasn't technically older. The number one dog became like a drug dog in the police force or something. So he's like purebred, like just
I was like a recovering addict. It's like, he was a drug dog.
He was
Tried all the
deep
hard
cover.
stuff, man. Don't do it.
And that's basically our other dog, who's a rescue, who lived on the street and had rocks in her stomach when they found her. She's half border collie, and so she just came in and was like, "This is all mine. Like this is for me." Like, I don't know, she got like some street smarts or something and just waltzed right in and put that white German Shepherd in his place. And so she drinks water and he's just like, "Well, I guess I gotta wait." Like, oh. And, like,
It's,
I'll be
it's
like,
important
"All
to
right."
have an established order. Like, you
Yeah,
can't,
it
if
is.
you have 2 dogs vying to be alpha, it becomes a problem.
Mm.
So it is much
Yeah.
better that there's an established order.
He used
Yeah.
to have a little more alpha tendencies, but when I moved in with my girlfriend, now wife, he didn't like that I was there because he used to kind of do whatever I wanted. So I had to kind of like, this is how it's gonna go. So
Really?
now they'll stop drinking or drinking if I tell them to. I'll just have one bowl and I'm like, "Is there all right? It's Lucas' turn now," and then he'll walk by. But it's funny because if he gets mad, he'll beat her up. But like any other time, he's like, "No, she's just too aggressive."
Yeah, it's always funny to me when people get really upset hearing cats like hiss at each other when they've never met. And I'm like, they have to. You have to figure out which one is like the big kahuna.
Yeah.
That would be
It's
fine if
important.
they then just didn't do that forever as well. Like, which
Do
they
yours
do.
do that?
Yeah, they do.
Oh.
Their brother
Mine
and sister.
hissed at each other for like maybe an hour, and then they were like, "All right, got
That-
it."
We were lucky with
And
our
now
chinchillas
they're fine.
actually, that we got 20 minutes of standoff and a bit of squeak, and we've never had a problem with them again. And it's actually pretty fucking rare to get two chins not from the same. I think it's called clutch. Maybe I might be wrong. Not get pretty fighty with each other. They have never
Right.
fought outside that first 20 minutes. And we had them separate in two separate cages because we thought this is going to be a problem. We're going to have to very slowly introduce, go through a lot to even, and maybe it won't even work. Maybe we'll always have to have them in two separate cages. The younger chin somehow, and we've never figured out how, escapes the cage, gets into the other chin's cage. There is no problem. We've never needed the second cage again. We still haven't figured out how
Weird.
the fuck she did it. It's
So
probably
weird.
sorcery. I'm actually scared and just do whatever they want now.
That stupid Life of Pets movie is its lore.
Secret Life of Pets is shit. Can
Yeah,
I
it
just
was a
point that
terrible
out?
movie.
It
was
has
a
been
terrible
added to the list of the 6 movies I don't like.
Damn.
It
Along with
was
Jurassic
really bad.
Park.
Yes.
I
Yes.
forgot about that movie right after I watched it, and every now and then I think about it. I'm like, I'm glad I forgot about
The
that
best parts of Secret Life of Pets are in the
Can I
trailer.
guess?
So just watch the trailer.
I was gonna guess what your favorite part of that movie was, and it was from the trailer.
Yes, when they do the metal
It
thing.
involves
When the dog headbangs to metal.
Poodle with
yeah.
System of a Down. Yes, that was by far the best bit of that movie, and it should have been 2 hours of fucking that. It's as simple as that, and it wasn't. It was, God, that was such a forgettable fucking movie. You're right.
It was probably the most forgettable movie that I remember.
Oh dear.
Damn.
The most forgettable movie that I remember is a fucking awesome box quote. We'll see if there's a good riff tracks on it. Maybe that'll help at some point. All right, well, we'll get back onto some video games, shall we? Dodger, what you got?
I played I checked out Antihero now that it's out. I know that we
Good.
talked about it a little bit last week.
No, we did. Yeah.
But I did the whole campaign. And
the whole thing?
yeah,
How long did that
It's
take you?
short, I guess.
it's not super long. No, because it's you guys were both saying that you felt like the difficulty really ramped up on the third.
The
one?
third tripped us up.
Not
once.
like high difficulty, but just like it added so many other things that you now had to change your thought process of the game. Like
Right.
going, so
Yeah.
it made it harder because you
It was
weren't
fine
prepared
after
for what it
that.
threw at you.
Yeah, it was a
Did-
stumbling block.
Did you guys wind up doing online play at all?
No, I just did the story.
Oh, okay.
I played
So-
skirmish against the AI.
Okay. So I was curious because when you play online, it could be any of the matches, like any of the maps that you played on during the campaign.
Mhm.
So that includes the ones that add in like some kind of a weird twist, right?
Yes.
So I guess I was just curious if, since you guys hadn't beaten the campaign, if you came across maps where you were like, I've never seen this before. But yeah, the campaign is good. It is short, but they kind of imply that there's gonna be more, maybe that they'll add more campaign matches. I had the most trouble with the second to last map. That was the hardest one for me.
What was
Um,
tripping you up on that without trying to directly spoiling it, if you can?
It's a map where it's, I think, the only map where they make it so that one person is given like your enemy is given a big boost against you.
Oh, so it's just unfair, basically.
It's like like on purpose. It's like you start with a severe imbalance that you have to try to correct throughout the game.
I'm gonna love that map then. I fucking love playing the underdog in games like that.
Yeah,
Very
it's fun. So it took me a couple tries, but aside from that, they went pretty easily. I really enjoy it. I like that in online play, so they let you do what they're calling a live match or a casual match.
Mhm.
And I really love that they have it that way. So casual match being you take your turn and then you can peace out.
Oh,
and just
play by email, basically.
play by
Yeah.
email. Yeah.
Or
And
pit
then
boss.
and then a live match is you're playing it
You're sitting there.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do both.
Can you do
several
several casual matches at once then?
Yes.
Good,
So I have like 10
good.
going on at the same time right now
Nice.
against viewers.
Yeah.
The viewers said that they literally just had to know, they didn't have to know any of my Steam information. They just had to know my username inside of the game.
Yeah.
And then they could just
They
start
have
a
an
casual
account
match with
system
me,
in that game. Yeah.
which was cool. Yeah. So everything that they said was going to be in the game is in there, and it's all working great from what I
Good.
can tell. I've had literally no problems with any aspect of that game.
That's
and
excellent.
I think it's
Yeah.
so fun. I think it's such a fun game. I unlocked both of your faces.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Yep.
Those are the 2 secret codes that are in the game if you want to unlock our portraits, because we both covered it last year, I think, at PAX. They decided to put our artists' impressions of us in the game, but we have no relationship with them. There's no sponsorship or anything. I believe the secret codes are I love Cox
Mhm.
Yo.
and all fanboys must die.
Mhm.
And there's literally an option that says secret code. So you can
Yeah,
have
there's
our
like a little
portraits.
gear at the top of the screen, and when you hit
Yeah.
that, it's like enter a secret code.
Yeah.
So
I only just heard about this game yesterday. Could you give me I was looking at the footage. Can you give me like just a super brief synopsis of like how this
Yeah,
game
I
is
can-
played?
I can do that.
Sure. Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
I'll go for it. So it is basically a digital worker placement board game where the theme is that you are running a thieves guild in good old London town, and you do so on a map that you initially can't see. You've got to scout it out with your master thief, and you use the gold that you earn from stealing from these houses and the buildings you control to recruit new units to take control of the map, and you have to accomplish you could accomplish a few different victory goals to eventually win the game, which usually is you assassinate, you fulfill an assassination contract, which means kill a named character. That counts as a point. You deliver a bribe, which basically involves paying money. That counts as a point. Or you blackmail, which involves taking control of full control of a church. And you basically blackmail the people of the town. That counts as it. Any combination of those, you do it before your opponent. It's 1 versus 1, you win. Simple as that.
I'm gonna look
And-
this up. Is it
Each
on
match
like
is like 40
it's
minutes.
on Steam?
It's on Steam, yes.
It's on Steam.
It's on
like
Steam and
mobile?
itch.io, I think.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
not mobile yet, but I think that
Mobile's
it would
coming.
port to mobile really easily.
Mobile's
yeah.
coming. They've already said that, and they also said cross-platform play as well.
Awesome.
I figured it might be coming. Figured it might be on mobile because you mentioned the game version where you just do your one turn and that sounded
Yeah.
kind of mobile.
It's a
It
perfect
is
fit.
also on GOG as well, so you can get it
Yeah.
all over the
There you
place.
go. You can get it everywhere.
I'll check
Huge
this out.
amount of
'cause
replayability.
I heard some good things. Just literally just yesterday was the first time I ever heard of it.
It's a really good implementation of it. It could have been a board game, but it's digital and it benefits from being that. And it has a shit ton of replayability. Just as a 1 versus 1 tactical game with
It's
a great
really,
theme, and
really
very good art,
fun.
and
Yeah.
easy
It's
to
on my
learn
wish
too.
list now.
Good.
But there's only like in the end of the day, there's only like 10 or 11 levels, maybe. It's not that long of a game, so it's really quick to play.
Yeah, but
Just
they
the
reshuffle them
while.
though, right? Like which buildings are on the level change every time.
Right.
So you don't know. So there is a bit more.
Mm.
The campaign is a bit short, but that's kind of not the point. The campaign
Yeah.
will
Right.
teach you stuff and give you some cool variants. The meat of the game is playing 1 versus 1 either against the AI or against another person.
And it's and that aspect of it is incredibly compelling. It's
notch.
a ton of fun. Yeah. It's a
Yep.
solid game.
Very good. Anything else?
I also played The End Is Nigh, the new Ed McMillan game.
Yeah. The one that
Um,
looks like Meat Boy, but isn't Meat Boy, is it?
It definitely, it's obvious when you play it that it's an Ed McMillan game. Like you see a lot of the telltale signs in terms of like design, right? The concept of it is that there was maybe some kind of an apocalypse and you are technically alive, but pretty much everything else around you is dead. You meet like ghosts, you can talk to skeletons, like all kinds of stuff like that. And you are on a journey to create a friend for yourself. Very classic macabre Ed McMillan concept.
Tyler Gleal's involved in this as well, the guy who made Closure.
Yes.
Huh.
So you are on a journey to collect tumors that you will then
Sure.
use to
Of course you
create
are.
your friend.
What?
Yeah, so
Stop being surprised by Ed McMillan at this point when it comes to that kind of thing. Come on.
it's fun. Yeah, I don't think that it's nearly as hard of a platformer as Meat Boy was. But it doesn't allow you some things that you might want, like wall jumping. There are hooks in the walls that you can use, but you have to like accurately get yourself to the hook, otherwise you can't attach to the wall. And yeah, in each area, there might be things about it that are different, you know, but yeah, there's different worlds that you go to. Right now I'm in what I assume is supposed to be hell. The music is fantastic. It's each area has a different combo of classic and hard rock music, like
Ooh.
mushed together.
Do you know who the
which
composer
is really, really
is
cool.
for this?
Huh?
Do you know who the composer is for this game?
Somebody in my chat knew, and
I'll go
I
find
am
out.
not sure, but they apparently have a Bandcamp that you can find all of the music on. So if somebody in chat right now knows the name, go for it, throw it in there. But
This
the
is
music's
making it a little
fantastic.
harder
The
to
way
find than I
just
thought.
playing the game feels really nice. It is frustrating, of course, but it's
No, not
very
Watchmen.
fun.
God damn it.
So
Still trying to
I
find
think-
out who the composer is. It's actually kind of hard to Google because it's coming up as Watchmen, The End Is Nigh, and also Trivium's The End Is Nigh. It's
Mm.
like, I'm fairly sure Trivium wasn't involved in it. Hit the Steam store page and find out. I want to know.
Yeah.
It's not on the Steam store page.
So I would say if you're somebody who you liked Meat Boy but you felt like it was a little too difficult, I think this game is reminiscent of Meat Boy. It's not the same, but it feels easier than Meat Boy was.
What? How would you describe sort of the differences mechanically between this and Meat Boy?
Well, because it doesn't allow the wall jumping like Meat Boy did, you have to really, not that you didn't have to plan out your movements in Meat Boy, but Meat Boy, up until the point that I'm at now, which I played I think a decent amount of the game, Meat Boy felt frantic always, right? Like even in the very first level, Meat Boy felt frantic. This game does not feel frantic. It feels like you can think through things.
Take your time.
Yeah, and there are
You definitely
definitely
could not do in Meat Boy.
no, there are there are things like buildings will start to crumble and you have to figure out how to match time with that. But from what I've played so far, there have only been a couple of areas that have created situations where it's like these things are flying at you, like you need to figure out how to get through there fast, right? Or some kind of an environmental thing that makes it so that you have to do things really quickly or you have to think really fast. But of course, it's the sort of game where you're going to die a billion times and it reses you instantly and it doesn't make a big deal about you dying. You just play. So it's not annoying when you die. It doesn't make a big deal out of it, which I appreciate always.
The composer, Ridiculon.
Hmm.
Matthias Bossi and John Evans. I'll be picking that one up, definitely. I mean, I'm not
Perfect.
going to play the game because I don't like platformers, but I will just buy the soundtrack. Because if you're saying it is that good, I will
liked
trust
it
you
a lot,
and
yeah.
hope that you are right on that one.
Cool. Yeah. So I would recommend it. I thought it was
Cool.
fun.
Cool. Glad to hear
What have
that
you
comes
been
up.
playing, TB?
Not a great deal, but let me tell you about something that sucks.
Oh, okay.
So we've talked a lot about iOS and the lack of good games and proper games on it, and also the idea of taking traditional games and putting them on iOS. Bearing in mind that iOS devices are pretty fucking powerful things these days, and you should probably be able to make a better version of a game that came out on like the DS in 2011. But apparently, if you're Capcom, you can't do that because the new Street Fighter 4, and yes, I did just say new Street Fighter 4 for iOS, is a piece of shit. a terrible, terrible piece of shit. And
Uh-oh.
for some inexplicable reason, nobody that reviews iOS games seems to have realized this, presumably because they are fucking blind. I don't know why exactly they are fucking blind, why they are able to ignore that this is a fucking fighting game that is clearly running at about 15 frames a second and looks worse than it did on the 3DS in 2011 on a device that is capable of far, far, far fucking more than that. But Street Fighter 4 Championship Edition on iOS is awful. Absolutely fucking dreadful. Unbelievably.
Tell us how you really feel about it.
Yeah, there was a bit of hype behind it because, like, well, this is going to be the best example of, hey, you can use an MFI controller with it, so you could just play it regularly, or you could use these sort of intuitive touch controls and have a real fighting game experience. And after playing that Skullgirls free-to-play game, which was pretty damn good in that regard, I'm like, sure, they've had enough time to figure out how to do Street Fighter 4, a game which is almost 10 years old, right by now. No, they have not. On an iPad Pro, which is a fairly powerful iPad, this fucking thing runs at about 15, 20 frames a second, which is never, ever, ever acceptable for any 2D fighter, and unsurprisingly, ends it up feeling like absolute dog shit. And the excuse isn't even that it looks better, because the backgrounds aren't animated, the fucking characters are pixely as shit, the texture resolution is utter dog shit. It is a complete fucking insult. I am flabbergasted by this. And you know what the best thing about it? They sold a version of this thing with the Game Vice, which is an Apple-released controller that works in a similar way to that stupid-looking Razer thing that I own, and also kind of to a Switch where it clamps on either side. I own the iPad version of the Game Vice, and it is an excellent controller. The iPhone version of it is also excellent. It is a beautiful controller. It's very well designed, a bit overpriced for what it is, but it works very well. And they said, hey, you could buy the Street Fighter version of this, and you get the copy of the thing for free. It doesn't even work in the opening menu. You can't even use it to... You've got to use the touchscreen to even move around the menus. I was like, you had the gall to sell this fucking thing, this like $80, $85 controller, with this game as a pack-in, and didn't even make it work properly. You are astonishing. Mind-blowing. I can't believe it. You know, this podcast broadcasts at 30 frames because it's a video show, but I think you're going to be able to see, even at that, how much lower this is off on this App Spy video. So you get to see pretty fucking horrible on-screen control. But look at this. This isn't even running at 30. And the fucking resolution and detail is dog shit.
I looked it up on YouTube, and he's not being hyperbolic. It was pretty...
It's fucking terrible. And yeah, mobile devices are capable of so much more than this. How did this work? It looks worse than the DS version from 6 years ago. And the device is about 10 times as powerful. How? Explain to me how you fucked up this badly. I mean, this is the company that brought you Mega Man that also ran poorly. Mega Man. How are you this bad, Capcom? How do you continue to suck this terribly?
Man, you were mad at this.
It's just fuck me. Like, I can't. They have the goal to charge money for this fucking game. Fucking God's sake, play fucking Skullgirls Mobile, the free game. It is 20 times better than this.
What are the reviews like on the
universally positive?
Really? I played some other fighting games on mobile, and it seems like the standards are low. I don't know. Maybe that's just
they fucking are
fighting games. So
yeah. Let me check App Store right now, because this is a game that Touch Arcade said was great, which Touch Arcade, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I thought you were the only good place to go to get information on iOS games. What the fuck has happened to you? The current version rating is 4 stars out of 5 on iOS. And Touch Arcade rated it 4.5 out of 5 and said that it was excellent and never once mentioned how shit it looks and how badly it runs. So I don't know what happened to you lately, Touch Arcade, but you are not the place I go to find out any more about these things. Also, you've muted your microphone, Dodger, I think? Either that or your...
Sorry.
Thank you. There you go. I don't know how long you've been trying to talk, but we have not heard a word of it.
I was just saying, what if it did work fine for them and they didn't know?
Because that would involve you being blind. Every piece of footage on YouTube clearly shows it doesn't work properly. Like,
yeah, I looked at the first
blind.
one. I thought it must just be this guy has a bad recording setup. It can't be this bad. And then I looked at a few more, and it was the same.
Yeah, I mean that's the first thing I thought. I'm like, is there something wrong with my iPad? No, there actually isn't. It's literally that bad. And if you don't notice that, you are just get a different job.
Damn.
Like, you
Roasted.
are not qualified to be in this industry at all. If you think that is okay, please leave. You might be part of the reason why mobile gaming is as bad as it is. And it has no fucking right to be as bad as it is.
It does seem like I said the fighting game standard for mobiles was low, but it does seem like most mobile game standards are pretty low.
Yeah.
I usually only go for games on mobile that I already know are good, like FTL, or I have KOTOR on my iPad. I play through that sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
ports
like
of
that.
PC indie stuff that would work well on a touchscreen, generally a good bet.
Yeah. FTL is my biggest one for mobile. I played Democracy 3 on iPad as well.
That's an excellent platform for it. I use it for a lot of board game. There's a lot of board games on iOS that have really good clients.
Yeah. I've played some board games on other people's iPads in like convention lines back, and that was something I did even back like, I feel like 5 years ago. People had like Casacane, or however you pronounce that game.
Carcassonne, that was out. That was one of the first ones. They've been putting a lot of them on. Speaking of, remember when I mentioned that cool social deduction game where you pass a phone around, it gives different information? Or on Triple Agent?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, they gave me. I think this is the first time ever I've been given review code for a mobile game before, because they heard us talking about it on the show. That's out on the 20th of July, which means we could play it at CoxCon, and you guys can play it in the signing lines. Can't wait.
Fucking yeah.
Jesse, have you muted yourself as well? Or
No, I said
okay.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, 'cause that didn't come through. I usually be doing that. All right.
I was excited.
Yeah, I am very, very interested in playing that. Everyone who's already played it, people I actually trust, like, real people, games devs, have said
real
that
people.
yes, have
None of those
people
fake people.
Basically, people who don't work for Touch Arcade have said that it's excellent. So that's the most tragic fucking thing, isn't it? Because
it's the lack of trust, the lack of respect.
No, it's just that there's so much potential here. And there's been potential for fucking years for the use of smart devices to enhance gaming in real ways. A great example of what we're doing at the end of CoxCon is that Jackbox panel. Prime example of using smart devices to create new experiences. Like that, an iOS device, a Android device is not inherently bad for video games, but you have to design with it in mind. But people fuck it up constantly.
Well, I think it has to do with everyone trying to find that next big thing that will end up like, no one's ever done this on like a mobile device before. And if we can do it right, we're going to make $1 bajillion. So it's about the creativity. The problem is it's still a mobile device, and there's only so much you can do with a mobile device. And really, truthfully, they're best when used with other things, like used to help with something else that isn't just like, I'm going to play a MOBA on a mobile. Like, that never works. Like, that shit never works. Except, you know what? I would have said that until this past weekend a waiter at one of the restaurants we went to was so hype for League of Legends on mobile. He was like, he must be the only dude in the world. He was like,
He
that is my
realizes
jam, though.
that's-
I love it. I was like,
that doesn't exist.
that's what I'm saying.
I've never heard of it.
This guy was like
It doesn't
wanting that
exist.
to like be a thing.
There is a one that's getting sued that was a clone of it that was made in China that Riot is suing the living shit out of.
It might be that's
Right.
what he wanted. That like might be that's what he was talking about.
That game is never coming to mobile, so he should probably give
I'm
up
just
on
letting
that.
you know, this guy was like hype on it. He was like, "Yeah, man, I
Thing
love
is-
playing MOBAs."
There are several good Dota-style games on mobile. Vainglory is
Vainglory's
fucking
good.
gorgeous and a good game.
Mhm.
The guys who made Clash of Clans and Clash Royale have soft launched their take on it. Is it called Brawl Stars, I think? And you know, they have Supercell have an inherent it's called Brawl Stars. They have an inherent understanding of the limitations of a mobile device and how to use it well. So I haven't played Brawl Stars yet. The trailer was terrible for it, but because of how good Clash Royale was, I'm willing to give it a shot, and I'm interested to see what they did because they understand the limitations and how to build on that and how to build within that. You don't try and emulate what a mouse and keyboard does. You don't try and emulate what the PC does. You build within this environment for this environment, and you can make good shit that way. Apparently.
I wanted to see how long we would all just be silent.
I hate you guys sometimes. Jesse, what have you been playing? What's been going on?
Oh man. I first off want to say that I downloaded Black the Fall.
Yeah. How do you like that game?
That game is like super compelling and very weird and like so the basic premise is you are in I'm gonna say dystopian futuristic Russia.
It
And-
takes place in Romania. It's
But
by,
it's so-
Romanian developers.
Yeah, it's definitely it's something about a future Soviet era world in which you are one of many workers in this crazy factory and you're trying to escape. And so everything for some reason is bicycle powered and it is very bleak and dark and filled with ogre men who try to track you down and people you can control with a weird like hand laser thing. It's puzzles and platforming and like different
Stealth.
room escape things essentially.
I'm looking at pictures of it. It's kind of reminding me of Inside.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I
A
that's
lot
what
of
I said too.
comparisons
It's
to Inside have come up on this one.
I might, because I love Inside. I might have to check this out.
You
I
should.
do think that it departs from that at a certain point. Like
Okay.
the whole beginning feels very Inside, and at a certain point it doesn't feel quite as much like it anymore in a good way. Yeah,
it's
it's a good game.
Have you
It's-
finished it? Because I'm told it is extremely short.
I
I
have
have
not finished it, and I
No.
played a few hours of it.
Really? Okay.
So
It is
I mean, Inside was short.
right.
Which is
Yeah, I
that's
beat-
not a
I beat
problem.
Inside at night.
Yeah.
I enjoy little games like that. I
Yes.
just want to play a game for a few hours and beat it.
Mhm.
Games don't have to be 20 hours, but obviously people that have to pay for games are concerned about length. It's like, there's no doubt about that, and that's entirely
Mm.
fair.
Yeah. As someone who doesn't have that much time, I'm willing to drop $20 for a game that's a few hours or whatever the price is, as long as it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some of the puzzles are really, really creative. One I found very, very frustrating. I don't know if you have this problem, Dodger. There's one puzzle where you are on a platform. It's the very first one of these. We're on a platform as it goes through like a refinery, and it's slowly being cut apart. And so like that's the easy part. And then you have to jump onto a like a pipe. The timing of that jump must have killed me like 5 times. I could not do that jump to save my life, and it wouldn't connect. Like you're supposed to grab on it, and it just wouldn't.
Right.
There's a few things like that where I think angles and where you're supposed to be are are problematic. But other than that, it's a fine game. It's super like it's very interesting. And the more you dig deep into the game, you're like, holy shit. Like, all right, I see the message that they were going for with this one. Yeah.
Right.
So definitely check that out.
Did you beat it, Jesse?
No, I've not beaten it yet. I just started playing it. And then I realized I just had to start working on stuff before I leave. Yeah.
There are several long plays on YouTube that clock the game in an hour.
What?
God,
Yeah.
I don't.
But one assumes they are not repeatedly dying and that they know how to solve the puzzles.
Yeah, maybe that is it.
Right. Because some of those puzzles are just like, there's one that it took me a minute to realize that, because I'm an idiot, a mechanic that I had learned a little bit ago was very relevant to the puzzle. And I was like, there's got to be a way to get through this. Could not put two and two together. And when I did, it was like, God damn, am I dumb? So
yeah.
Man, first of all, like, I got to come on the podcast more often because I already have 3 games I want to play now that I'd never heard of before. But I definitely have you beat on dumb puzzle mechanics. I'll never forget the first time I played Twilight Princess. I was stuck in this dungeon. I was trying to figure out for the life of me how to get over this thing. And I literally spent an hour or two just running around in the dungeon trying to figure out all you're supposed to do is cut a rope with your sword. And I just felt like the biggest idiot ever once I finally got it.
Yeah. I hate that. There have been games that I've dropped because I've when I was younger specifically, because I couldn't just look up how to do it. But there are games that as a kid, I remember that feeling of just, am I an idiot? Like this has to be something simple, but I could not for the life of me figure it out. And
that's
just never played the game again.
Yeah, that's what most games back then were like. It's just like, I can't, what is wrong with me? And it was just, it's that moon logic we talk about every once in a while sometimes too, where it's just, there's no way you would ever know this. And there was no game FAQ website that you could go to. So it was straight up just like, what do I do? Who do I talk to about this? Because I have no one that will help me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some old adventure games like Darkseid and stuff like that, you had to spend years on just trying to figure out what you did wrong. You get to the end after a 3-day cycle in the game or whatever, and you die. And it's like, well, you didn't pick up the pin in the first, the library when you walked in, but there's no way of knowing that that's what you did wrong. You have to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
But they don't really make games like that anymore.
No, because that's bad.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
That.
I was gonna say that too, because that's
stupid. Plus,
that's a bad game.
Pointless with the advent of the internet anyway. So it's like who you fooling here.
Yeah, now you just look it up. So even if you enjoy that style of game, there's no point.
No, there isn't. Yeah, people have got better at designing adventure games, and I think we're all very thankful for that. Cool. It's about almost 10 past the hour, so we should take a break. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun? We'll be right back talking a little bit about some news and sub-releases. You're watching the Co-Optional Podcast. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Co-Optional Podcast for the final hour or so of the show.
Yo.
Indeed. Hopefully you had a wonderful, relaxing break with the Stanley Parable soundtrack. I certainly enjoyed that. A little bit of Beyond Good and Evil thrown in there for good measure, because why would you ever not need that? We've been busy taking a fucking machete to this release list, because holy crap is it full of utter tosh. We're working on it. We've had to divide the work because there's so much crap. Thanks, Steam Direct, making our jobs a lot easier.
Nothing.
No, we don't ask our guests to do that. It's like that's like inviting someone into your house and then asking them to take out the rubbish. It's not something you really do. It's like,
When I have
wash the
guests
dishes.
on my
Hey, can you do the dishes? Because I cooked, so.
Yeah.
When I have guests on my show, I put them to work. I make them find things for me and get me treasures.
Treasures?
Treasures?
Various treasures.
What kind of treasures specifically are we looking at here?
Whatever kind of treasures are in Minecraft or Terraria or whatever freaking game we're playing. Go find the items so that I live longer on my own show. I don't want to die.
Fair enough. All right.
That's the requirement.
Let's dive into a little bit of news, shall we? There is a little bit of it, so we could talk about that. First things first, we got a bit more information on what this Atari thing is going to be. The Atari box. So we got a few specs on it. We got pictures of it. Firstly, the picture of it is quite nice as a thing that would go on a shelf. Sort of a pleasantly retro-inspired thing with a sort of... I don't think it's real wood, but apparently they're hinting it would be housed in wood.
Paneling.
It looks like wood, inspired by the wood of the Atari 2600, but a sort of modern-looking thing. It's like, that looks quite nice. What it is, they're still being a little vague on it. They said it appears it will be similar to the NES and SNES classics, providing access to old titles in modern retro hardware, but also kind of PC-like, where not teasing you intentionally. We want to get this right. Oh, and there'll be a fucking crowdfunding campaign for it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which pretty much instantly said, oh, Ouya again. Great. Yes.
Who owns Atari now?
I don't even know at this point.
I'll look it up.
The Atari brand has gone through so many strange phases, and this just appears to be the latest one. The render for it, like I said, it's pretty. I like how it looks.
It does look nice.
It does. It really genuinely does. But what it actually ends up doing, we're still very confused. We don't really know. We're thinking Ouya style thing, which you should not kickstart, because we know what happened the last time you fucking did that.
It's apparently owned by Infogrames.
Infogrames. Yeah, I mean, they're a fairly, at least they were a fairly large company back in the day when it came to game development. I mean, according to that, they don't... Right, so it's not owned by Infogrames. Infogrames are incorporated as Atari. Infogrames was defunct as of 2009. It's an international French holding company, basically, now. A bunch of subsidiaries have declared bankruptcy. It's still around somehow, and we don't know how exactly. They have a total equity of minus 13 million euros, apparently, as of 2015, which is generally not a good thing for any company.
Great. Sounds good.
They own a bunch of IP that we really wish they didn't. And this thing is happening. Crowdfunding. No. Stop it. No.
When I first heard of the Atari box, I assumed it was going to be like a NES Classic type
That's
thing.
what I
Only
thought too,
shitter. Yeah, because Atari 2600 games are all fucking garbage.
They've done stuff like that though.
Mhm.
Like there was like the little
Many times.
Atari joystick that
Yeah.
plugged into the TV that had a bunch of Atari games on it. And
I
stuff
actually
like
have something similar to that.
that.
Yeah, they were like cheap novelty gifts, basically.
Yeah.
As to what they're going to put on the fucking thing. It's like they have a lot of IP, but it was across a variety of systems. Atari 2600 games were shit, so we don't really care about that. And if they think anyone does care about it, I think they're in for a rude awakening. I mean, it would be a nice ornament for my shelf if it looks if it ends up looking anywhere nice and near as nice as that render, which it probably won't. We're just all really confused at this point as to what this thing is, but the whiff of Ouya is not a whiff you want around your product.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is hopefully a lesson I think that people have learned by now. So I can't wait to find out more information about this confusing fucking thing.
It'll be entertaining at the very least.
Sure, yeah, it will be that. I don't know if the product will be, but the things surrounding it will. So Nintendo has announced they'll cease production of the new 3DS in Japan. Variants pretty much done. Their lineup basically now seems to be the new 2DS and the 3DS XL.
Okay.
From what I can tell. So it's sort of a product line pruning by the looks of it. Which makes sense. The new 2DS, is that currently available for purchase? I know we saw a lot of reviews of the product over the last week or so.
Yeah, I know they've been sending it to people, but I don't know that it exists.
Currently unavailable. Not that means anything. I don't know if it's being released and it's just sold out. Obviously, it's just a, hey, this is the size and power of what the new 3DS XL was. but the 3D feature is gone, so you're saving some money. Which
Looks
I think
like-
for the...
It looks
Sorry,
like
go
it's
ahead.
out on the 28th of July. The new
Okay, so
Nintendo
it's out in about a week or so. Yeah. Which is fine. It's completely sensible iteration for that product line. The 3D is not something that is of value to a lot of people, myself included. If I needed to buy another 2DS, well, another 3DS, the 2DS XL looked like an option. The only concern I had, which has been expressed by several viewers, Jeff Gersman in particular, when he was doing his little preview of it, that fucking screen is rattly. Like, it doesn't lock properly in place. And he mentioned quite accurately, if you happen to be on a plane and there's even a few bumps, this is probably not going to be a very pleasant experience, and also something that flappy is going to wear out a lot faster. It seems like the attachment of the screen to the other screen is a bit cheap and not well designed. So that is a concern. So that's a thing, I guess. They haven't killed the line completely. You know, they haven't switched to the Switch completely yet.
Right.
Which I think, again, is kind of fine. The 3DS has a massive install base. It's still extremely popular in Japan, even though the Switch is as well. I think the two products can coexist for a while.
I think so too. Honestly, I mean, I've talked about this every single time we brought up the Switch, but I much prefer like playing on the go with the 3DS than with the Switch.
Yeah.
I usually use my Switch more as it's easier to take to places like conventions to play portably, but mostly I just like that I can have my Switch dock in here and play in bed and it not be a problem with the connection, and doesn't have a crappy screen like the Wii U does.
Yeah, I do a lot of that. I'm the opposite. I don't like the 3DS because it's uncomfortable and makes my hands hurt. I do like the Switch portably, and I've used it 95% portably. I just think that shows how flexible the system is, that we can both have those completely different usage scenarios and still be happy with it.
The 3DS cramps up my hands as well, but I still like it. I don't
It's
know,
got
my hands
some
are
great
big.
games on it. It's got some excellent games on it. I wish it didn't cramp my hands the way it did, because I'd use it a lot more if it didn't.
Especially if you're laying down. It really cramps my hands if I'm laying down on my back. The Switch, a little bit, but not as much.
Yeah. All right, so moving on news-wise. So for those in the PC gaming market, they may have noticed, and maybe haven't realized why over the last few months, that graphics card prices have gone through the roof. And the reason for that is a cryptocurrency by the name specifically of Ethereum.
What?
Yeah. You don't know about this either. Okay, cool.
No.
Let me tell you a little bit about it on a very basic level. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on it. I've played around with cryptocurrencies before. But the basis of cryptocurrencies, of which there are actually quite a few, the most commonly known one is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin had to be mined, which was basically solving a very, 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 very complex puzzle for all intents and purposes. And you use your computer hardware to do it. And it got progressively harder. There's a finite amount of Bitcoins that can ever exist. We haven't got all of them yet, but eventually we will. And eventually it became utterly impractical for a regular person to mine Bitcoin because specialized setups, I believe they're called ASICs, were built, and huge warehouses full of machines in China were used to farm it. However, other coins did sprout up, and some of them were built to be resistant to what's called ASICs farming. So Ethereum was a coin that was resistant to this and could be mined using regular consumer graphics cards very effectively. So there was a gold rush for it. The value being, it's cryptocurrency, the value is very volatile. People made a bunch of money off it, were able to mine. There's a gold rush, which meant shit ton of people bought a shit ton of graphics cards. And there were certain graphics cards that were very good at it for their price performance, some which were not. Mid-range graphics cards in particular basically sold out across the entire planet. And as a result, prices went through the fucking roof. Apparently, over the last week or so, there's been a fairly steep decline in that market, and miners are starting to dump their GPUs on eBay, and the prices are starting to go down again. Which we knew would happen eventually, but apparently that's kind of what's happening now.
If I didn't know any better, I would think that you were explaining some obscure sci-fi novel storyline to me.
Yeah.
Something like Ernest Cline would write or something like that.
Cryptocurrency is weird. I've spoken to people who are big into it. Hell, I did a whole StarCraft show match where we paid the users in Bitcoin, which ended up being about $9,000 worth.
Jesus.
Now, I mean,
Man.
if you let me put it this way, if you bought Bitcoin at the very start and you kept it, you are now a millionaire.
Mhm.
You know, so enjoy kicking yourself on that one, as I think we all have. But there's always the rush for the next one. People are like, well, what will be the next Bitcoin and can I make money off it? People believed Ethereum, which had has hugely changed in value. I mean, this is a coin that I believe spiked at a value of about $400. I think, and this changes so often, I can't even keep track of it. I only have a very passing interest in cryptocurrencies. I think it dropped to a low of 133 after that, and then went back up to about 170. You can see why people trade it a lot, because it's effectively, you can do day trading with this stuff.
Right.
And if you have a decent amount of capital, it's something you could make some money off of, if you understand how it works. As in terms of making money off acquiring it, people are like, well, how is that? Like, surely you're spending more on electricity. Well, no, that was the thing. For a while you weren't. And the way that GPUs work, and also bearing in mind that not everybody pays for electricity. Like, you live in a dorm in many countries, you get your electricity paid for. Run a few farming rigs. It's like, well, you're making not a lot, but some. It's like, oh, well, making $10 a day on this, where it just sits in the background doing nothing. And then, of course, the bigger you scale it up, the more you end up making. So, yeah, some people were making money off it.
It's like a Lex Luthor scheme. It's
Yeah.
like next level. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
I've never completely understood cryptocurrencies and how they work.
I mean, the best, in terms of like why they have value, it's because we say they do.
Right.
Like, if
Just like any currency.
Yeah. If I decide to start giving you bottle caps for things, and you decide those bottle caps have value, then they have value. And you use this sort of giant technology called blockchain, where everybody else verifies the transaction. So you can't fake it, because there's like millions of computers verifying the whole thing and keeping track of like the whole history of it. It's fascinating to look at a blockchain. You can track the history of every transaction where everything has ever been ever. It's kind of nuts. It's, you know, I'll tell you a little interesting story about how crazy that is. When we did that event, there was a lot of money on the line, and it was a show match, best of 7 between two of the best players in the world. They apparently, which has happened before and is not against any rules or anything, some people might think it's against the sort of spirit of competition, agreed to share the prize pool to some extent. Like, rather than being all or nothing, they said, let's do 70-30 behind the scenes. Which is up to them. We had nothing to do with that. But the thing about Bitcoin is every transaction is tracked in the blockchain. So as soon as that Bitcoin was transferred, people immediately knew it had happened. And it was 100% verifiable. They saw the Bitcoin move from this wallet to this wallet. They couldn't say for sure who, because you can't identify people like that. But they knew that that prize pool had been split after the prize pool had been sent.
Right.
It was fascinating. Fascinating little endeavor. But I'm not an expert in cryptocurrency, and I'm certainly not going to pretend to be. I was like, I'm scratching the surface for a very good reason, because I do not understand it beyond surface level.
I think you're at least passing as an expert in present company.
In the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, I think. Just ignore the fact that in that novel that didn't happen at all. Pay no attention to the message of that short story. He died. Anyway, yeah, but this is good news, obviously, for PC gaming. It's been a bit rough for people. NAND prices across the world have been up, which means good quality SSDs have been more expensive. RAM has been more expensive, and GPUs have been more expensive. So if you wanted to get into PC gaming, now is not the time to do it. Nope. Wait. We'll just wait a bit, okay? It will even out. All right.
That's crazy.
Crazy. Speaking of money, the Oculus Rift got a pretty big price drop. Obviously, the Oculus Rift is currently the least successful of the 4 major VR devices. That being the Rift, the Vive, the PSVR, and the Samsung Gear VR. They Oculus announced a permanent price drop of a bundle, which is Rift plus the touch controllers, which frankly is kind of what you need. Like, playing with the Rift with a 360 controller, while possible, is not really the VR experience you are probably looking for. $500 for the bundle, which makes it relatively competitive. I mean, HTC Vive and controller is $800
Right.
So that's very competitive, and it's even coming close to the PlayStation VR, where I'm almost certainly convinced they are now taking a loss. But
PlayStation?
No, not PlayStation, because PlayStation used a lot of old hardware like the Move and shit. The Oculus. I think the Rift is probably taking a loss at this point. But you have to bear in mind that they have a store that sells content that is curated, most of which is good, versus the Vive, which has a real pile of shit on it. You know, the open market is good in some ways, and we've had a lot of arguments about exclusives, but if you use the Oculus Store, you are not going to buy a piece of shit on it. I know this, I've used it a lot. I have, because they have this press account, which gives access to everything, perpetually, I believe. I think until I say something mean about it, then they take it away. But, so I basically
Now's your chance.
I basically have everything that is available on the store as a result of that. Nothing that I have tried on the Oculus Store has ever come across to me as this is dog shit. A lot of it has come across to me as I would not pay the price this is being offered at for it. But none of it's bad. And there's plenty of bad Vive stuff. A fairly massive amount of bad Vive stuff, actually. Yeah.
I don't know. I my Oculus is pretty great. I use it from time to time, but again, the reason why I don't use it all the time is just because like these bad boys, right? VR plus glasses equals head hurt, and I'm not a fan of that. Come back at me when I can have like specialized lenses put in, then the game change.
Yeah. It's interesting because there was this rumor that certain big players in the industry are looking at AR over VR. And we sort of kind of dismissed that notion. But, and full disclosure,
Xbox was doing it.
Well, HoloLens, I don't think it's ever really going to have real gaming applications, and that's why we haven't heard about it in the gaming space for a couple of years. Like, it's got much bigger applications in things like engineering, medicine, etc. But, and full disclosure, I'm still part of Polaris, ergo I'm still owned by Disney, ergo take any opinion I have about Disney products with a pinch of salt. The recent Disney Expo showed a very short trailer for Star Wars Jedi Master Challenge thing, which is an AR experience.
Okay, cool.
We saw very little of it, but it's an AR visor, not a VR visor, and a full-size sort of fake lightsaber, which some people went bonkers about. Obviously, since we didn't see the gameplay, I was like, okay, what? But it's interesting that a property of that size and a publisher of that size have kind of dipped their toe in that and are indicating that they want to dip their toe into that more.
Guys, whatever happened to the HoloLens?
They're using it more for engineering and medical applications and didn't do anything with gaming.
Okay.
The intention was never really to make it a gaming device, which is why it was weird that they kind of showed Minecraft a couple of years ago at E3, I think, as a proof of concept.
Right.
But not that, and they didn't actually expect it to be, because it's a very expensive device and has very limited use. Jesse, did you say you tried a HoloLens experience a couple of years ago?
I did. Sorry, I was trying to watch this trailer for the VR or AR. Like they don't show anything really.
No, it's a 30-second proof of concept, basically.
Yeah. So when I was at E3, God, 3 years ago, I think is when they had HoloLens. 2 years ago. it was the way that we used it. I know that on stage they did the whole presentation where it's like you're in Minecraft and now your world is like outside and you're looking down and you can change. We didn't get that at all. The experience we had was you put on the lens and you went into a ship that was very much like it was one of the cruisers from Halo. And so you put on the lens and you stared at a wall that sort of calibrated everything. And then from that point on, everything you saw was a mix of reality and then troop transports and like Marines and stuff. It was super cool. And then eventually you went to like a big grid, and then I'm trying to think, one of the very many famous voice actresses that exist gave you like a speech as a character, and then did like a whole it's how in the movies when someone tries to explain the final battle and they're like, we have to get to here and like look at this giant screen of a 3D model of some super battle station. It was like that, except it was in real life, and it was super cool. And then it was like, all right, now that you've explored this ship with this AR stuff, take it off and go play Halo. And so I thought we were gonna get to play Halo with AR, and I was
right.
But that's not what it was at all. It was just a level setup explaining what you were gonna do, and then you actually just went and played the game. But it was, the technology was there. The biggest problem that I had is that the imagine your field of view, like what you can see. The AR was confined to here, like in front of you. It was like a little box right here, and if you looked out of it, like nothing. It was just normal reality. Everything was confined to right here. And so the way they set stuff up is it had to be directly in front of you. So if you turned even a little bit, it would just start to vanish. So it definitely wasn't completely ready yet, but the stuff that they did show was really cool. And I'm ready for that. I've been ready for AR stuff forever. I've said it before, I'll say it again. An AR horror game would be next level.
No, thank you. No. Thanks.
I
I'd rather die. I can imagine somebody eventually, for the chickens like me. I can imagine somebody going, what would do really well in AR? Tamagotchi.
would play Tamagotchi in AR.
Right? I would play AR Tamagotchi immediately.
You know what we do really well in AR? Applicable daily life things. Imagine traveling to a foreign country, you throw on your little glass thing or whatever, and you can just read whatever it says in English.
I mean, that's basically the goal of Google Glass, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, currently, it's because they had the Explorer Edition. We own one of those, and it was mostly used for data gathering. It's an interesting piece of tech, but it's definitely not finished. I believe they're currently pushing it towards enterprise applications. Eventually, that degree of wearable tech will absolutely be commonplace, I think.
Yep.
I don't think there's a question about
that's
that.
like
It's too potentially useful for it not to be.
Right.
I'll be certainly on board with that.
Yeah, the additional things that you could gather, so much information that you could just put right here in front of your eye that would change everything about how we communicate and travel and what. The technology, we're right on the cusp of something awesome, and I can't wait for whenever we just push on through, because man, that would be awesome. That'll be so cool, y'all. Having experienced it and just a little bit of it, I know the potential's there for something really awesome.
Yeah, I think the limitations at the moment, I mean, there's three major challenges. You need power and portability, which for wearable tech, you can't have it be particularly heavy for obvious reasons, because it becomes uncomfortable. Miniaturization. The biggest sort of issue, I think, is a lot of what you're suggesting, like translating things in real time, etc., can already be done, but you've got to do it with cloud functionality.
Right.
Can you do that without needing to be permanently connected to the internet? Right. If you can do that, then the thing suddenly becomes a hell of a lot more useful, since obviously there's a lot of areas in the world where no, you don't have a stable 4G connection. Hell, if the US can't even fucking manage that, there's plenty of places that can't. And also the option, the idea of how do you interface with it in a way that makes sense.
Scouters.
Oh yeah. What does the scouter say about TB's power level?
Yeah. Just
What does
bring
it
that
ever
thing
say
down.
about my power level?
Yeah, what does it say, Dodger?
Off the fucking scale.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Between Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, where is my power level?
Oh, Jurassic Park 3.
Definitely Jurassic Park
You are-
1, your
You're
favorite.
fired.
You were solidly an Allosaurus.
Oh, dear.
It's the Jurassic Park 3. It can swim, but it's also like a T-Rex.
Yeah. All right, that's about it for news. We've been hacking down this release list quite a bit.
Yeah, dog. Do you have the finale for me?
Kind of. We're sort of going to go halfway and probably just give up because there really is way too much shit. That we have, all three of us are taking a goddamn giant machete to this thing, and there's still too much. So we'll talk a little bit about some releases. I have no intention of being here all goddamn day. Let's just say Steam really opened its bowels this week, but yeah.
Cool. Well, today, July 18th, we have Aeternum, Aeternum, the acclaimed bullet hell shooter of Xbox Live indie games, now on PC.
Yeah. So it seems to be a mixture of a kind of bullet hell with some visual novel thing in it, full of magic teacup cats and corgis piloting spaceships, so they say.
Perfect.
Yep. Yep.
It's what you need.
Next up is Children of Zodiarcs. This looks
Hey,
cool.
It
Yep.
is.
We've talked several
Little
times on the
RPG?
show about it. Jesse has been a big advocate of it.
Mhm.
Give us the little summary, Jesse, about this, since you play the most of it.
It is a tactical fantasy RPG with card game and dice rolling elements.
Indeed. Published on that Square Enix sort of creator program, if I recall correctly.
Collective, something like that. Yeah.
This next game looks cute. It's called Kingsway.
Yeah.
Kingsway is the #1 operating system for daily tasks like skeleton smashing and loot organizing.
Yeah, so I saw Cry playing this and was really intrigued by its presentation. The whole game basically pretends to be like Windows 95, and you're in a fake operating system playing a fake Windows 95 game
Great.
Right.
with all of the trappings and potential fuckery of that. So I'm super intrigued by this as a result. I know
cool.
Cry was having a blast with it.
Cool. Next game is called Vikinachi.
What?
I
How
included
the hell
this
did you
because
spell
it's
that?
absolute shit. And experience the
That
fun
doesn't seem like good use of your purging skills, TB.
with Vikinachi. It's Vikinachi is a RPG game. You are going to experience the fun mischief with our Vikinachi. There are many levels and design. In each level, the Vikinachi has to find invisible doors to reach next level. Vikinachi can collect golds, not just one gold, items during his journey. The main aim is to find the princes in each level. And that is the end of the description. Thank you,
Adorable.
Steam. Next.
Next
Reminds me
is
of
called
going down deep down iPad App Store list games.
It might be
Those could be
worse.
pretty
at this
funny.
Point. Yep.
next up is called Yonder, the Cloudcatcher Chronicles. This looks like a game I would play.
Yep, just came out today. We're getting quite a lot of positive reviews on Steam. Apparently, it's got open world crafting and adventure stuff in it. The aesthetic is pretty gorgeous for this thing. It is a single player game as well. It's not one of those weird survival games. You are apparently befriending what looks like a buffalo here. This looks really, really cute.
Cool.
Adorable.
Those look
Next
cool.
up is Disco Destruction.
I
Be
like
the DJ and keep the customers happy.
I do like the idea of this. It is currently free. It's a silly free VR game. You have to save the disco from destruction. You are a VR DJ and weird shit happens. I just like the concept.
Next game is called Knave. It's a space exploration game.
Space exploration, trade, and combat, and it's free and open source apparently. So there's potential there.
Next up is called Nurbits, a music puzzle game, it says.
Kind of like this idea. You take on the role of a sound engineer responsible for producing music with a robot band. You must fix the wiring in each robot's brain before they can play the song. So it's like it's a music puzzle game, but with electronic and circuitry shit involved in it,
That's pretty
which
cute.
I thought was kind of neat.
Orcs Must Die Unchained is coming out for PS4.
Yep.
And Fallen Legion Flames of Rebellion is
It's for
the next
Vita.
one on the list for Vita.
A Vita game, always noteworthy. Weirdly, Fallen Legion Sins of an Empire is coming out on PS4. I wonder what the difference between those two
Yeah.
things is. Let's find out by the Google.
The Googs.
By the Google.
So Flames of Rebellion, launch trailer came out a day ago for this thing. Oh, I'd actually play this. Seems like a side-scrolling action RPG with a bit of brawler in it. Some pretty cool art in that. Though I wonder what the difference between this and the other one, the Empire one, which is on PS4, looks the same but at a higher frame rate. Why are they called different things?
Okay.
What's the difference?
Interesting.
I can't quite figure that one out. I wonder if let me just Google and see if there is an answer to that. What's the damn difference between these two games? I'm trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out.
Sort of
Push, push,
hoping
push.
that chat can figure it out before I do as to why they're called different things.
I
Because
mean,
they look like very
Put 'em to
similar
work.
games. Pardon?
Like,
Sorry, what was that?
could the answer just be as simple as they're in the same series and every game in that series looks identical?
Maybe.
I don't think there even is a series for this. This is the first game. These are the first games in it. So I don't quite understand why they're called different things, and I can't find an explanation for it on Google either. Anyway, so
Great.
but
Well,
they're
the
both
next
coming out.
one. The next one is called Robot Riot Hyper Edition for PS4. Looks like
probably means
kind of
there's
an
something on Steam.
Old school game where you play a robot and you fight other robots.
Yeah, sort of old school action side scroller looking thing. Got some pretty okay art in it. Cool. Moving on.
On the 19th, the only one that I left in was Space Battle Humanity.
Wait, I gave you like 20 games. Did you literally axe 19 of them? Were they all
You told me to be liberal with my axing.
I did.
And the other games on that list did not look like it was
Really?
worth our time.
Wow.
So I got rid of all of them.
I'm gonna 100% fucking trust you on that. Because holy fuck, I mean that was a lot of games. So it's called what is it called?
It's called Space Battle Humanity.
Space Battle Humanity.
Space Battle Humanity.
It doesn't look terrible. I can't tell what's happening though. I
looks
thought there
like
was
Me either, but
looks
I know
like another
TV
one of
loves
those
space
Galcon
games. So
node games. The node strategy where you send a bunch of shit to different nodes and capture it,
right.
but with a kind of cool space theme. Looks like that. I think there was something on here that actually I was interested in that apparently you took the axe to. Maybe I was
Damn.
wrong with that. Yeah, Space Tyrant. Space Tyrant is a fast-paced roguelike 5X set in a grimly grimdark future of eternal war.
5X. What the
Yeah,
hell?
this looked like it had a really interesting sense of humor, and it looks like potentially this is right up my alley. There's literally a big cartoon text that says "oppress" or "invade." There's different races. One of them's a space evil cybernetic space rabbits. This looks right up my alley. I think this is worthy of attention as well.
the next day I think was done by Jesse.
Yes. The next
the
one
the 20th.
on July 20th, we have Clash of Robots.
Clash of Robots.
Clash of Robots.
I don't like it. It's a fighting game with robots. And
Yeah, because that worked out really well the last time. I think it was called Rise of the Robots. That classic, known as an incredible game. But yeah, it is a robot fighting game. Trying to get it,
the
play some
ultimate
footage.
fighting challenge? Are you
The
ready for
Ultimate Fighter.
Are you the ultimate fighting challenge?
it? That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't
It
actually-
was that in
I
the
the Ultimate
description?
Fighting Challenge.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
I'm not
next-
sure this is going to be any better than Rise of the Robots, but okay, cool.
Next on the list is a game called Cutlass, for those of you who don't want to wait for Sea of Thieves and you want something that looks very, very similar.
It's VR
It's
as well.
VR, though.
Yeah, it's a
So,
Vive game.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Huge potential with that.
mhm.
Looks quite similar to Guns of Icarus. Full disclosure, we keep getting paid money by them. Is
doesn't say
it's
it's multiplayer, but it
it's
looks
not
like it is.
multiplayer.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
No. So it is a single player piratey VR game that's inexplicably not in early access. It does look kind of neat. The fact that you're on a ship alone is weird. I'll say that. But what it's
Just take
showing
care of
in the
everything.
game doesn't seem too bad. Okay.
Next on
Okay.
our list
Uh-huh.
is a little
Uh-huh.
thing probably none of you have heard of called Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator.
The
Right,
thing
yes,
that
of
Dodger
course.
keeps bringing up. Is this still
Didn't
not
that
out?
get delayed?
I
Is it
feel
still delayed?
like
got
this has
delayed,
been
yeah.
I was gonna say I feel like you keep mentioning this thing.
It did get delayed.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna come out then either, but hopefully it will. So Yeah.
Oh, it's voiced by the Game Grumps?
God, it's voiced by a lot of people.
I mean, Game
that
Grumps
we
like
know.
produced
Yeah.
it, so
Did they?
Mhm.
Ah, okay.
The next game is a game that is a combination of two things I never thought I'd see, and I'm so glad it exists. Twins of the Pasture is a game very similar to, imagine Stardew Valley meets
Ooh.
like
Meets anime bullshit.
girls,
I don't want to imagine that, but okay, carry on.
and it looks like you're farming.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like you're farming.
Most of
and
these
stuff.
pictures
Oh,
are them in
and
their
suddenly
underwear.
That's what I'm
Cool.
saying. It doesn't make sense to me.
Jesus
They
Christ.
finally got me to play one of these games, and this could be it.
I gotta say, the gameplay doesn't look very good. It looks a lot like the newer Harvest Moon games, but worse, and that's saying something.
It's like, did you want Stardew Valley, but did you also need Pantsu? Well, here you go.
Not find any of the weird mods for Stardew Valley?
Look, I didn't play Stardew Valley, and I certainly wouldn't have gone looking for those weird fucking mods for a game that was 2D pixel art, but okay. Good lord. Thanks, Steam. Next.
The next game is called Blind Men. It is in continuing our theme of boys dating boys. This one is about
Sure.
you being a supervillain and you are falling in love with the spies trying to kill you. And so
Perfect.
I
Every
knew
I'm
kind of
that.
in.
visual novel, apparently.
I'm
now.
in.
It's made by Man Eater Games.
Yep.
Well, that's appropriate.
Next game is Gigantic. It is finally coming.
Yeah, this has been running for a while on the Windows Store, and realized if we actually want people to play it, we should come to Steam. What I still haven't got around to playing it, but I know it's got some really interesting original ideas in it. I love the art style of it, and what I've seen on stream of it indicates to me that I should commit some time.
It looks
So-
like everything I've played so far has been great. I really truly hope this game, like, I love the levels. I love that you capture points and that you create these giant monsters, and then that, like, in the back there's a big monster waiting to come out and attack. I love everything about it. I hope people jump on this thing. It's super fun.
There's yeah,
Really pretty.
yeah, it is. And how many times have we been saying game modes for these fucking games are boring? Holy shit, make something interesting. Apparently, they made something interesting. So,
Yeah.
hopefully, it doesn't go the way of Dawngate.
Don't say that.
I've cursed it now. All right.
Next up is Slime Son Blackbird's Kraken. That's a title, is what that is.
Well, they've expanded the thing already.
Yep.
I was going to say, that game did not come out a long time ago.
I was gonna say. Mhm.
Apparently, there's another Slime Son game. Took them like... They're fucking... Why are they quoting Brash Games in the reviews? You realize that site is dead and was horribly corrupt, right? Oh, dear. Well, I guess you got to do what you got to do. All right, moving on.
The next game exists only for UTB. I think it looks terrible.
It's terrible. It's
Wrestling Revolution 3D.
This has been on iOS for ages, and it's garbage.
It
Uh,
looks. The
and-
opening of this trailer is
4 men climbing a fence.
Yeah, and
Really-
why you would ever, because with Fire Pro currently in early access, and also, you know, the WWE games not being bad, Why would you ever like? The sad thing is that they're trying to simulate the fantasy of everything involved, sort of with wrestling, signing contracts and feuds and stuff. The problem is it's so fucking. I mean, it literally looks like a PS1 game. It's like God, something like this. Also, everything in this are copyright infringing ripoffs of real wrestlers. Like I can recognize every single person in this. And
You mean that guy who was clearly Stone Cold?
Oh, I mean, I'd go even further than that. Like,
oh god,
it's like, oh, that's Shinsuke Nakamura, always called like Ryan Suzuki or something. That's Daniel Bryan. That's The Rock. That's John Cena. That's Mick Foley. Oh, Brad White. Brad White. Oh my god. So there's a current wrestler called Bray Wyatt. Brad White is in it. This is like bought. This is like fucking bought.
oh man,
Holy shit, they're not even trying to hide it. Oh my.
and the last game is Just Cause 3 multiplayer mod is finally.
Yeah, finally releasing that thing. Yeah, which would probably make that game a lot more fun. Because I said it when it first came out. I think some of you did as well. It's like, damn, wouldn't this have been better if it had launched with co-op support of some sort?
Yep.
Yeah.
Stuff
Well,
you can do in that game is so ridiculous. I love it. I love that you can now play with other people.
Yep. Just Cause 3 multiplayer mod. The developers helped with it. It's a fan created project, but yeah, they got some help with it. It probably looks like this will make that game really worth having. I was not hugely into Just Cause 3. So I will try this though. The stuff they're showing is fucking hilarious in what you can do. It's a perfect game for this kind of nonsense. Fucking sailboat yacht race and all the sailboats just exploded for no reason. Yes, that is fucking Just Cause in a nutshell. It's delicious.
That's it for the 20th.
Indeed it is. See what else we have. I think the only other thing I was looking at was like the 22nd. Where did I put my release list? Somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Because that 20, because there was like really nothing on July the 21st that looked like it was worth caring about. When's Splatoon 2 out?
No idea.
Because for some reason, yeah, it is on July 21st. Yeah, Splatoon 2, and also there's a super hot release for PS4, and that's
hot.
Super hot.
basically it.
Good.
Hot.
Yeah, it is.
Super.
That's one of my favorite games I've played in like the past couple of years.
Have you played the
actually.
VR version? Because fucking
haven't.
hell.
I'm going
Oh my
to,
god,
though.
it's
I'm
even
going to.
better. It's
Yeah.
it's a completely separate game. It's even better. Trust me. Holy
Wait,
fuck.
it's completely different from the
Yep.
regular
Yep.
game?
Yep.
Oh.
It's
I
a
didn't know
completely
that.
new super hot in VR, and it is as good as it sounds.
Man, I'm going to have to set that up then.
Arguably the best VR game. I'd go to bat and say that.
Yeah, man, okay. I had moved my Vive and hadn't reset it back up yet. I might have to set it back up just for that.
Yeah. There is some cool stuff coming, but it's not within this week. Stuff like Pyre and Sundered, that's not out until next week. So we're not missing out on that. And the rest of it, like I said, if you can find some good stuff in there, you feel free, but there is some utter crap in that box.
It's kind of fun to include some of it, though. It's
Yeah.
just...
Some of it's worthy of mockery, and a lot of it's like, we shouldn't even be giving this the time of day, you know? That's kind of how this ends up being. But we do our best. We do our best. I hope we didn't miss anything kind of neat. I'm glad that I was reminded of Space Tyrant, though, because that almost slipped under my radar. There was one other thing that I have no expectation of it being good, but I'm surprised none of you brought up. YouTubers Galaxy warning
No,
this game is
don't
only
do
in
this.
Spanish.
Don't do this.
I want to let you know, I did bring this up during break, and I laughed at it because I went to go look at it, and I was like, oh, Lord, what is this? And it just says, only available in Spanish. So,
And that's probably for the best. Yeah.
no me gusta. Muy
Los
mal.
YouTubers, esas personas que diremos, I'm going French now. I never learned any Spanish, you know.
Go on.
Non alegron los días con sus videos. Esas personas que saben donas un buen schnitzel fahren. S'il vous plaît.
Yep. I like
Yep.
it.
Pretty good,
Yep.
right? Yep.
The
I wanna know
image
who's that.
promo image is either non-existent or the link is broken on it.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's a good sign.
People's like, Avon Colony, that's next week. Don't worry, we'll mention Avon Colony next week, which does look cool. Speaking of next week, 2 of these people are still going to be back on a plane from CoxCon, but I'll be back by then, and fuck jet lag. So I replaced them with the entire round table. So we will have
perfect.
a 5-person show, myself and the entire round table. They will be here. Our regular hosts, they're done. They're easily replaceable. Come and join us for that.
Wow. I see how it is.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Wow.
All I need is another
That's it.
podcast to replace
It
you.
all comes out. I see how it is.
Yeah, it's egg time. It will. So start your egg timers. It will be myself and the whole cast of the roundtable next week, while these guys are still in the air. And of course, a reminder: CoxCon is happening. It's happening this
Hey.
weekend.
Sure is.
I'm coming.
So soon.
Yep.
Tickets.
Yep, there are still a few tickets available. You can still grab them right now, but you can't grab them on the door. Jesse,
Yeah, you can't
yes?
just show up. You can't just show up. You have
No.
to get them in advance, gang.
Yeah,
Mm.
they're easy
There's
to buy. They're all
security guards, and
digital.
they'll come get you. They'll be like, "What are you doing here, kid?"
Yeah, they'll sound like that too, despite
It's
the fact
me.
that they're all
It's
British.
me. I'm the security guard.
They'll actually say, oh, hello,
are
what's
you
going
doing
on here?
Just out front with a little hat and like a baton, like
Little
what are you
bunny hats.
doing?
Yep, that's how it'll work. 22nd and 23rd, I'll be there. Jen will be there. Dodger will be there. Strickland will be there. Jesse will be there.
I might be
And
there next year, apparently.
Yeah.
The word going.
Yeah.
we
Watch
also
out!
got-
Next year, we're blowing it up. It's all
If
the
you-
crew.
If there's a
Not
pinball
literally.
machine, you can
Yeah,
count me in.
I'm not coming next year unless you get a pinball machine.
I'm gonna let you know.
I'm gonna start
Well,
making outrageous rider
Pinball
demands.
machine. There's gonna, you know what? That's fine. There's gonna be a
Brown
pinball
M&Ms.
machine. No one's gonna be
Pinball
Indiana
machine?
Jones pinball machine.
Okay,
That's a good
I'll
one.
take it.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Let's
I'm
go
gonna,
jungle.
I'm gonna start making specific requests. It's gotta have World Cup. You've gotta have Indiana Jones. You gotta have what's that one that's escaping me? The castle one. It's one of the best ones.
What?
Now. Well, the
Yeah.
one where the
Get-
castle breaks. down.
Get Tales of the Arabian Nights. I don't know if an original Tales of the Arabian Nights is even. It's like that's about $100,000. I think.
I'm not gonna find like an old pinball man in England who's like, "Yes, I'm the pinball wizard."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh,
Well, I mean,
no.
I think there's several of those companies that maintain collections that do hire out for events and stuff, and will come and
I'm sure
maintain.
they do.
Yeah, I've played a number of the classic interpretations on like Zen Pinball and all that stuff on iOS. Fucking Tales of the Arabian Nights is so good. Star Trek Next Generation, the pinball machine, oh, it's so good. There's a working table in Charlotte at a Bari. Try and enjoy. Hey, Jesse, here's one thing for you to look up. We mentioned it, I think, once on a show before. Look up Killer Queen. Find out what Killer Queen is, and you are going to want to have it for your next show. I won't even have to convince you, because you're going to say, holy fucking shit, what is this thing?
Holy fucking shit! What is this thing?
Yep, yep. Isn't that fucking incredible? Yes, indeed.
Now I need in on it. What is this?
Killer Queen. It is...
How? What?
Is it a pinball
It-
machine?
It is a 10-person new arcade machine developed by an indie company, and it is fucking amazing.
Oh, I played this. I played it.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, it's called Killer
Where did
Queen.
I don't even remember where I played it. It was at some convention somewhere.
There's only like I think 20 or 30
Wow.
machines currently in existence. They're still being produced.
Oh, when you hit the buy button at 404s.
Yeah, I just tried. I want to see like how much does that thing cost?
Yeah.
I think it was like
404.
18,000, which is actually less than you would expect, I think, for a machine like that. But a Bari in Charlotte has one. Nobody ever leaves it. It is constantly... Everybody in there's like, we're playing Killer Queen. We're playing Killer Queen. Because holy fucking shit. It is a 10-person, brand new indie arcade machine. If you can get one for next CoxCon, holy fuck.
It really
Man.
is great. I don't remember what convention I was at where they had this, but you were lucky if you could get into a match with people. Everybody was constantly on it.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. It's like just playing a sort of indie multiplayer game, except everyone's in the same place and drinking and having fun. It's incredible.
I like it.
Yep. I know we blew up the website. 13,000 for machine, which is less than you would expect for something like that, I guess.
Jeez.
You can still buy it.
So yeah, but that's
Yeah,
still,
see if there's one in the UK that you can hire.
It's down.
Yeah, we crashed the website.
I'll look into that. But first, I have to make sure this ball pit was worth it, TB.
We get a little bit more
usage on this ball pit.
Just get a little bit more like bowler in there.
That actually would be pretty funny to get a ball pit and just put like "do not enter" disease pit. And just
you say pools closed? Like, oh dear.
I want that thing used for pictures and memes. If we if we have one,
that's exactly what it's gonna be. People are gonna recreate that fucking photo.
If you go into the ball pit, you get kicked out of CoxCon. Like, that's a secret rule.
Yeah, if we catch you, if any of the staff catches you in the ball pit, you're out. But it's gonna be there. We're not saying you can't use it, but if you're caught using it, you're gone.
That sounds right.
We should take the ball. So when you got the photo area, we should just have the ball pit in front of us. Always, you could take a picture with the ball pit. You're just not allowed in the ball pit.
I'm gonna immediately go and contact everyone and be like, if you want to take a photo with me, it has to be in the ball pit.
You're just
get on in. There. Yeah, just get on in.
They call it your cocks and balls, man.
Ball pit photo.
Cocks and balls.
Yes.
Cheers. You have that one for free.
Perfect.
Cool. Thank you very much for watching the show, folks. And big thanks, of course, to our special guest, Mr. PeanutButterGamer, who we certainly hope will join us at a future CoxCon. That would be amazing.
Yes.
But before we go, we would love to tell you.
If you have Killer Queen and Pinball, I'm in.
Yes, indeed. Tell me where you can find your stuff, what's going on. You've got more than just your main channel. More than just that. In fact, you upload daily, as it turns out.
Yes. Well, except for yesterday. Normally,
yesterday went to shit. Yeah.
Actually, that wasn't the reason why, but it was just a coincidence. Apparently a positive coincidence. We have a channel on there. We do videos every day. The probably the biggest draw. We do Let's Plays and stuff, but the thing that really gets people coming is the hardcore series, basically, and this is on PVG Gameplay. It is basically we get 7 usually people to show up and play a game. We have regulars on there. We get guests. It's either Minecraft or some Terraria, some other game where you can die. If you die in the game, you're dead for good, and then you just get a big X over your dead portrait, and then you can't talk anymore.
But what if you die?
If I die, I'm not on my own show. That's part of what I think is cool about it. Like there have been seasons where I die very early, and there's just like 20 more episodes of like just me not even there.
But if you're do you get to rake in the cash from that anyway? Because that's a perfect scheme.
Yeah, it's actually.
What a good scheme! You should just kill yourself on the first episode.
All right, well I'm out. I was a little busy, so I'm just gonna die. Yeah, but there's a goal, so either we complete the goal or we're all dead. There's a new one coming soon. It's on MineZ, which is this sort of zombie mod thing for Minecraft. It should be fun.
Cool.
Killer Queen's nice back up.
Jared and Brutal Moose that time. So it should be fun.
Boots Moose.
Why am I so tempted to buy a Killer Queen machine? I shouldn't do that.
No, you should.
I really shouldn't
play with you consistently.
Yeah, it's like, why would I buy a 10-player cabinet for my house?
They're very big too. Don't you have to have 2 like combined?
I think that's what you buy. That's my understanding. Like when you buy the unit, there's a few options. The base unit for Killer Queen is 13,000. You can put on MFI bill validators, toppers, and 12 months extra support and software stuff for an additional 2,000.
Wow.
I'm gonna get one of those.
Here's something.
I really want it now.
Here's something you can do instead, TV. What's going on your channel this week?
Nothing, because I'm going to CoxCon. But no, I will try and get a couple of things up before I leave. I think I'm flying on Thursday night, so that anti-hero video, try and get that finished if I can. Pretty much in a state where I'm ready to say what I think about it. I'm just going to maybe toss out a couple of multiplayer games just to make sure there's no issues there. I didn't get to talk about Pyre at all, but that's for the best because I'm under embargo until the 24th, I believe. I'll try and get that video done before I leave. What I've played so far is what I've already played. And what I will say so far about it is what I've already said. So, you already kind of know, but pyre. Fucking pyre. Outside of that, I do want to play around with Sundered. I do want to play around with. I have code for that. A couple of other things. I'll see what I can get up before I leave, basically. Hopefully something. And if not, there might be a few random videos from CoxCon popping up on the channel. And if not, I believe you are streaming all the panels, right, Jesse? That's the plan?
Yes, it'll all be on Twitch, every last bit of it. So we actually have a Twitch page where if you go to CoxCon Official on Twitter, all the links and stuff are there. And yeah, so you can watch it there. I will be doing the exact same thing. I leave in 3 hours and 30 minutes to go do all of that.
Yeah, you're getting out of it.
I have a bunch of videos and stuff ready, but I'll probably make vlogs and things as well of our various shenanigans and whatever we're up to. So
cool.
Yeah.
Dodge, you got anything planned for while you're away?
I'm gonna do an anime news episode. I'm gonna stream even on the day that we leave. So I'll be streaming this week still. And yeah, then I'll be at CoxCon and you can watch all that shit. Heyo.
Heyo.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get a webcam feed of just the ball pit? And
Here's
there's
the
just
thing.
nothing
I
happening.
think we can make that happen. That's something that
just ball pit. Nothing but that. No one is allowed in it. It's just, but it is a 24-hour feed of the ball pit.
I want to set. I feel like
there are so many potential goofs now.
Yeah, since we're not using twitch.tv/Shabuzi, I feel like that should be what that is.
Yes.
All weekend is just the ball pit.
Yeah, the best thing is you can now just put it under IRL streams and it's allowed.
Yeah.
A year ago, this wasn't allowed, but Twitch has allowed it to happen.
The fools.
Perfect.
Yep.
Let me know if you need me to bring a spare webcam for that. We'll just set it up.
I can't wait. This is gonna be good.
But like,
I don't know.
Call it the Dave Lang Memorial Ball Pit. Like, yes.
I don't know if you could get into legal trouble for kicking people out for going into the ball pit. Maybe not. I don't know.
No, I mean, it's his con. You can kick someone out for any reason. You would have to put it in the con rules, though, that you're not allowed in the ball pit.
Just like the fine print. If someone misbehaves, you can just throw them in the ball pit. For that, actually, definitely was probably
that is assault. Yeah, that would be assault. Assault and battery specifically.
Ignore my idea.
It's like UK law. I do know, and that is assault and battery. Don't do that. Don't do that thing.
I want to do the ultimate test. Ultimate test of video feed onto ball pit, have a sign that says do not enter in front of the ball pit, and see who has the balls to go in the ball pit on live stream. And like,
if it's live stream, people will do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see people do it.
This just gets better and better. Please, can we make it the Dave Lang Memorial Ball Pit, please?
And then immediately we get
one.
Holy fuck. This is going to be the funniest thing from the con. Which is good, because nothing else at the con will be funny. I can pretty much guarantee that.
It's all reliant on us. It's the truth.
You're fucked! Buy a ticket. CoxCon.co.uk. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Corruptional Podcast. We'll be back next week, myself and the whole Roundtable crew, for a very, very eggy episode. Thank you for watching. Big thanks to our special guest, Mr. PeanutButterGamer. Go check out his stuff. Yay. It's all great. Mostly.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Pleasure. Anytime. We're gone. See you next
time.
Goodbye.